my expensive fandom whenever you pick me, and however you may be watching. Thank you. Black Panther, Wakanda, forever. Joined so far by Lacy Cora and Tech. Jeremy's working a small type of cube. He'll be back in here in just a minute. Because I don't know what that is. That's a serious out of it. But that's a crazy, insane movie. So much to unpack. The crazy cameo, big time death. Just a whole lot to unpack. And here to go through all that with me today are my amazing co-hosts. One being the Dower to Council, Lacy Cora. How are you doing, my man?
I'm doing all right. Glad to be here. Not much going on, but I'm glad to be here.
And for some reason, my music is still playing, despite the fact that I hit stop. I don't really know why that is, but hey, whatever.
Just I don't hear it now.
It wouldn't be one of our shows fucking everything up. But also with us, the Shan from very close to the border, our man Tex. What's going on, brother?
Howdy, y'all. Hope everybody's doing well. And, you know, a lot of people are going to praise this film, but I'm probably going to shit on it. So get your popcorn ready. So let's do this
thing. I have mixed feelings about it, but we're going to go into all that. I do want to give Jeremy a couple more minutes because he's having some kind of issue trying to get his stuff to connect to StreamYard. So we'll give him a couple more minutes, just kind of randomly go. But yeah, there is one. I'll go over this real quick because I know Jeremy wanted to touch base on this. I intentionally left this out of our stream Tuesday night with me and Tex because I knew that he was going to want to talk about this. But some initial thoughts on this now while everything worked out, because I know he's going to have a lot to say about this. He's talked about this guy a lot on this channel before. And Kevin Conroy, the prolific voice actor who defined generations, died Thursday in New York after a short battle with cancer. He was Conroy voice starred in the acclaimed Batman the Animated Series from 1992. 15 years he was a fixture on the comic convention circuit. Who played Conroy's on-screen Joker mourned his collaborator state saying, Kevin was perfection. He was one of my favorite people on the planet, and I loved him like a brother. He truly cared for the people around him. His decency shone through everything he did. Every time I saw him or spoke with him, my spirits were lifted. Let's see. The series still resonates 30 years later with J.J. Abrams and the Batman filmmaker Matt Reeves teaming up with Batman the Animated Series Bruce Timm for a new take called The Caped Crusader, though it is currently unknown if Conroy was to be involved. Let's see.
That show got canceled, by the way.
Conroy, who was born on November 30th. Yeah, it's probably one of the things that got axed by Zaslow, but that's
yeah, that got Zaslow.
Conroy, who was born on November 30th. Yeah, 1955 in Westbury, New York, and grew up in Connecticut. He studied acting at Juilliard alongside noteworthy actors such as Christopher Reeves, and was one-time roommates with Robin Williams. He went on to pursue work on stage before landing roles in a lot of 80s TV series, including Dynasty. He also appeared on soap operas Search for Tomorrow in Another World, and had guest spots on many sitcoms like Cheers, Murphy Brown, Spencer for Hire, and Matlock. Although the trajectory of his life and career changed forever when Batman the Animated Series debuted on September 5th, 1992.
Yes,
Conroy is survived by his husband, Vaughn C. Williams, his sister, Tricia, and his brother, Tom. A gigantic loss to the entertainment world. It's odd because I've been trying to catch up on a lot of this. CW started going through like crisis on her, and he played the elder Bruce Wayne, who was happening on this timeline. So it's odd to so soon see that away. I had heard that he was ill, but I didn't know exactly how ill he was. I mean, he was 66, but that's still relatively young these days. I don't know, Tex, what are some of your thoughts on the passing of Kevin Conroy?
This was huge. I mean, you saw how Jeremy and I were going back and forth about this. When I saw this, there are a few celebrities that when they pass, it really affects me. Because they're just people. They're playing a role, right? But Kevin Conroy is directly responsible for making me love Batman in that world as much as I do. I mean, obviously, my first interaction with Batman was, the '89 Keaton film and, reruns of the '66 show. But what solidified me as a Bat fan was the animated series. And then, of course, that grew into the new Batman Adventures in Justice League. Then he went on to voice Batman. And I think he did over 60 projects in his career, spanning all the way from the animated series to the Arkham video games, multiple animated films. Hell, he even played a live-action Bruce Wayne in the CW TV show thing they did a couple years ago. I mean, Kevin Conroy is one of those actors that, obviously Mark Hamill's the Joker, and, Kevin Conroy was his Batman. And for many people, including myself, the voice of Batman. When I read a Batman comic book, I hear his voice in my head. And, Batman the Animated Series was one of those shows that transcended to the next level. It wasn't just another animated show. It was the animated show. And, it's been made into action figures, comic books. It's affected every medium that Batman has ever been presented in. And it's just stuck. And I don't see anytime soon people forgetting about Kevin Conroy. I mean, the man's a legend, thoughts and prayers to his family, because this one really hit me. This one was like, whoa, holy shit. This was big. I didn't know he was sick. I mean, he always looked kind of skinny, kind of gangly. I just thought that's the way he was. But, apparently there was a sickness, and, people have been posting cameos of all the heartfelt stuff that he said to him over the years. And it just really, he always seemed like one of those celebrities that cared about his fan base, and he appreciated it. That was maybe my favorite thing about it. So Kevin Conroy's a legend. I mean, there will never be another Bat voice for me. It's his. You there, Frank?
He definitely was
I'm
one
here.
of the most significant voice actors of probably the last 30 years. And not to mention the stuff. Yeah, not to mention the stuff that he also did on camera, his on-camera stuff. I mean, there's nothing to sneeze at. Right. Shows like Murphy Brown and Cheers, even if it is just an occasional reoccurring role. I don't know, Lady Cora, I'm not sure exactly what your background is on Kevin Conroy stuff, but I mean, what are some of the
never heard of him until I heard
he
died. I'm a terrible person. I didn't even know who the hell he was until he died. And then I was like, oh, cool. He's that guy. I'm the asshat who didn't know who the fuck he was.
That's about being a voice.
Tex, is he cutting in and out for you too, or is it just me?
Yeah,
that's kind of the bummer.
No, it's me too. He's Frank's choppy as hell tonight. The internet's fucking with it.
Okay, I thought it was just me.
Yeah, it's us too. It's been
holy crap.
Kind of an ongoing problem for the last couple of weeks. I'm not sure.
Oh, okay.
Hopefully,
but yeah, I looked at his resume after I saw he passed and learned about who he was. He sounds like an impressive man with an amazing resume.
Well, I think obviously his work speaks for itself, But like I said, I think the best thing that he did with his celebrity was anytime you saw him at a con or out in public, how caring and giving he was to the kids, to the fans, and everything else. And he could have just been putting on, but you can always tell when somebody is. He seemed like he genuinely was appreciative of what the fan base gave him. I mean, he voiced one character and made a life out of it. That's aside all of the other work that he did, the TV stuff and everything else. So, the dude was humble, and, it showed with what he did. So that's why it affected so many people, I think. And seemed like a solid guy, It's a big loss.
Is there any talk of who will replace him?
One of the things that you kind of have to deal with as a voice actor, well, I mean, anybody can do a voice, but I mean, it's never going to be him. but that's one of the downfalls of being a voice actor is everybody knows your voice, but nobody knows your name. That's one of the things about doing voiceover work. I mean, there's some voiceover see things on YouTube, and I would be out of the crowd say, "That's all I've heard." So that's one of the weird things about being a voice actor is you never really you're not out there, so people don't recognize you on the street. The voice is hard to recognize. I've been for a long time is the one thing that DC is better than Marvel in every respect is their animated stuff. And a lot of that is because for some reason the animated medium just works very, very well for them. And he even says that Kevin Conroy even said in an interview several years ago that one of his favorite things was Mask of the Phantasm because it made Batman confront some issues he had with his parents, and it mirrored a lot of what he felt because apparently he didn't have the greatest relationship with his father. So I mean, so what it was just one of those things took very personally. When you take something that personally, it's you're going to give it's going to be a little bit of your performance is a degree of you're going to have to be to it to maybe one. But because you feel an emotional level, it's like that. So it's definitely a shock to the system. I had heard about him being ill, but I didn't really know exactly how serious this was. So this news came as a bit of a shock to me too, because again, only 66. I didn't know the nature of his illness. Not unlike Chad, where it's all here in a few minutes. It kind of went under the radar. He just didn't talk about it openly.
Maybe he was really private. And honestly,
I understand the need for privacy, especially in this day and age.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, the need for privacy day and age, I totally understand. But it's a shock.
Well, that was one thing, and like I spoke about it a second ago, but like I said, just go on YouTube and check out the cameo videos that he did. He would do like the happy birthday, Bruce Wayne calling from the Batcave. Then he would do all that. Then he would do like 2 to 3 minutes of some kind of heartfelt deal for the people. And a lot of folks were sharing stuff from when the lockdown was real heavy. He was doing cameos more because you couldn't go to cons, so that was a way to still be with the fans. And he was trying to uplift as many people's spirit as he could. And he was getting very personal with the people that bought and got these cameos.
Oh, that's sweet of him.
Yeah, it was really cool. Like I saw one the other day that really kind of got me was. It was a happy birthday to somebody, but at the end of it, they had an uncle or a dad or somebody that passed away. And Conroy spent like almost 10 minutes talking to him about death and everything else. And with him just passing, it hit really hard. So it was really cool to see stuff like that when he could have just recorded a 2 minutes, Batman here wishing you a happy birthday, blah, 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 and be done, But he obviously knew and appreciated his people that got him to where he was. So he seemed like he was a very genuine person, man. I know Jeremy would love to be here talking about it. I mean, hell, he shared the photo that when he got to meet him, and I'd love to hear what he thinks about it because I know he's as passionate.
I remember seeing the photo that he put up.
It's in the group chat that's there.
Mm-hmm.
But,
yeah.
It's, like I said, I know he's as big of a fan of Conroy as I am. And, hopefully he can come in here and, give his 2 cents worth. But, it's Conroy's a big deal, especially in the DC world. It's,
I wonder if he was a Batman fan to begin with, and that's why he got into it, or if he just got the role and then he, just kind of appreciated the fandom, so he just went with it being his iconic character.
Well, I've seen the making of like the behind the scenes of Batman the Animated Series. And I know he auditioned for something, and Andrea Romero, the woman that was voice director, she like loved his voice or something, and that's how he got it. So I don't know if he was a prior Batman fan or not, but I know that like once the DC world kind of accepted him as Bruce Wayne Batman, from, like I said, from the animated series to Mask of the Phantasm to the TV shows, movies, video games, you know, he has imprinted himself. I would say he has imprinted, Kevin Conroy has imprinted more of himself on Batman than Adam West has. And we know Adam West is the catalyst of a lot of this. So, you know, this is a big deal for the Batman world. And, you know, he will be forever treasured and missed. I can say that honestly.
Nice.
So,
well, I think it's amazing that he had such an impact.
Issues. We'll get to him when we can.
Right.
Yeah, Jeremy's still having some issues. I'm texting back and forth with him right now. He's trying to, he's doing some stuff, but I don't know if we'll be able to get him on site or not. But one way or another, we'll get Jeremy's thoughts on this as well. But we're going to go ahead and move on. Is Black Panther, Wakanda, forever. Sorry, my computer's being a little slow.
Yeah, you're choppy as hell. It's like every other word is cutting out on you. It's great.
Yeah, ever since we moved into this new place, the internet's not been right, and I'm hardwired to the internet too. It's not Wi-Fi, so I'm not sure exactly why this is doing this, but we'll get through it one or the other. Modem, I will.
We'll figure it out.
Boy, I'm still waiting to bring up this page. There we go, where I can read the plot. Okay, now in this movie, it starts out with T'Challa, the king of Wakanda. He is dying from an illness which his sister Shuri believes can be cured by the heart-shaped herb. Shuri attempts to synthetically recreate the herb after it was destroyed by Killmonger, but fails to do so before he succumbs. The movie then cuts to 1 year later. Wakanda is under pressure from other nations to share their vibranium, with some parties attempting to steal it by force. Queen Ramonda implores Shuri to continue a new Black, but she refuses. The Black Panthers. Meanwhile, in the Atlantic Ocean, the CIA and the U.S. Navy SEALs utilize a vibranium detecting machine to locate a potential vibranium deposit underwater. The expedition is attacked by kill-skinned, water-breathing superhumans led by Namor. With the CIA believing Wakanda to be responsible, Namor confronts Ramonda and Shuri, easily bypassing Wakanda's advanced security. Blaming Wakanda for the vibranium race, he gives them the ultimatum: deliver him the scientist responsible for the vibranium detecting machine, or he will attack Wakanda. With that, Shuri and Okoye learn from CIA agent Everett Ross that the scientist in question is an MIT student named Riri Williams, and they arrive at the university to confront her. The group is pursued by the FBI and then by Namor's warriors, who defeat Okoye before taking Shuri and Williams underwater to meet Namor. Angered by Okoye's failure to protect Shuri, Ramonda strips her of her title as general of the Dora Milaje and seeks out Nakia, who has been living in Haiti since the events of the Blip. Let's see. Sorry, got sidetracked. Namor shows Shuri his vibranium-rich underwater kingdom of Talokan, which he has protected for centuries from discovery by the world. Bitter at the surface world for enslaving the Mayan, Namor proposes an alliance with Wakanda against the rest of the world, but threatens to destroy Wakanda first if they refuse. Nakia helps Shuri and Riri Williams escape, and Namor retaliates with an attack against Wakanda, during which Ramonda drowns, saving Riri Williams. Namor vows to return in a week with his full army, and the citizens of Wakanda relocate to the Javari Mountains for their safety. Meanwhile, Ross is arrested by his ex-wife and CIA director, Valentina Allegra de Fontaine. Surprise, surprise. That was a bit of a jaw-dropping moment in the movie. For secretly exchanging classified intelligence with the Wakandans. After Ramonda's funeral, Shuri uses a remnant of the herb that gave Namor's people their superhuman abilities to reconstruct the heart-shaped herb. She ingests it, gaining superhuman abilities and meeting Killmonger in the ancestral plane, who urges her to seek revenge. Shuri dons a new Black Panther suit and is accepted by the other Wakandan tribes as the new Black Panther. Despite M'Baku's urges for peace, Shuri is determined to exact revenge on Namor for Ramonda's death and orders an immediate counterattack on Talokan, preparing for the battle. With Ayo, assuming the position of General of the Dora Milaje, Syria bestows the Midnight Angel armor upon Okoye, who in turn recruits Dora member Anika to join her. Williams creates an Iron Man-esque powered exoskeleton to aid the Wakandans. Using a seafaring vessel, the Wakandans lure Namor and his warriors to the surface, and a battle ensues. Shuri traps Namor in a fighter aircraft, intending to dry him out and weaken him. The pair crashes on a desert beach and fight. Shuri gains the upper hand but realizes the similarities between their pasts and implores Namor to yield, offering him a peaceful alliance. Namor accepts and the battle ends. Namor's cousin, Namora, is upset at Namor's surrender, but Namor reassures her that their new alliance will allow them to conquer the surface world one day. Williams returns to MIT, leaving her suit behind, while Okoye rescues Ross from captivity. Shuri plants more heart-shaped herbs to ensure the future of the Black Panther mantle. In Shuri's absence, M'Baku steps forward to challenge for the throne, while Shuri visits Nakia in Haiti, where she burns her funeral ceremonial robe in accordance with Ramonda's wishes, allowing herself to finally grieve the loss of her brother T'Challa. In a mid-credit scene, Shuri learns that Nakia and T'Challa had a son named Toussaint, who Nakia has been raising in secret far from the pressure of the throne. Toussaint reveals his Wakandan name is T'Challa. That was a pretty big jaw-dropping moment, to say the least. There's a whole lot to unpack in this movie. Where to begin? Tex, I'll go with you first, because I know you're going to be critical of the movie, and I have a feeling I'm going to have to counter a lot of it. But I'll go ahead and let you lay your case out first. What do you have to say?
This is a very bloated, heavy film, and I did not feel the pacing was well. It felt like they were trying to tell 4 or 5 stories at once and cram it all in, and none of it really worked great. There is a lot to unpack here. My number one thing was, okay, the Wakandans are, if you objectively look at the Wakandans and what they're doing, what they've stood for, the last time we saw, T'Challa, he was wanting to help the world and everything else, kind of like Iron Man did with his technology. Well, look at, in the aspect of they faced world-ending events multiple times, and the elitism of the Wakandans, very villainous to me. I don't see how you could see them as good guys in this, besides, the movie's about them, they're the good guys, go hate the other ones. There's a lot of villainous stuff that they do, especially politically. Just going into, America to get Riri Williams as if she didn't have a choice. There's a lot here that is being told this is a heroic act that they're doing, but this is, I can't buy them as the heroes here. The woman from Walking Dead talking constantly about the colonizing, this and that and everything else. She's very problematic for me. The out of all the Wakandans, the only one I really liked was M'Baku, and we did not get enough of him in this film. I genuinely liked what he did in this movie, but Namor, kind of, they played with him too much. They got too artistic with him. I would have liked to have seen a more direct comic version. What the guy did in this film was not bad, but it was just, he was another Marvel villain. He didn't stand out to me. And I've just got a lot of problems with this film. Like I said, I don't know if I'm in the minority or the majority on this, but this was a problematic film for me. Like, there's a lot to unpack here. Like, no way around
it. For me, there was a lot that was good about this, a lot that should be pointed out that was amazing. There were some things that just didn't work for me. There's several things that didn't work for me, if we're being perfectly honest. I'll start with the good things. Number one, Ryan Coogler had an impossible task in front of him. Why bother? He is the title character. How do you make a Black Panther? It's odd. It goes against everything that we know about how to movies. Star Wars movies without any of the big three, right? Without Luke Skywalker, right? I mean, that's kind of how that goes. But what he did with this movie was, I mean, if there is a level that you could call as good as you could possibly do, I actually think he exceeded it. I mean, because this movie, it was going to have to deal with a lot of emotion. And I think originally that's kind of what this movie was going to be anyway. Even had Chadwick Boseman survived to do this film, that this was still going to be a very dark, very emotional film anyway. So it's interesting that he didn't really have to change a whole lot about the tone, just find a way to convey it all without the T'Challa. And I think Ryan Coogler did a good job. It's so one of those is one of the things I like about the first Black Panther is that was such amazing world building. And he did it again in this movie by building Talokan, because we've already seen him build Wakanda into this. It looks amazing. It's an amazing place. I would love to go visit. And then he gives us Talokan, which is inspired by a whole different part of the world, a whole different people, and the same attention to detail, the same everything. It was just amazing the job that he did again, showing us a whole new world, because this was not Atlantis. This was not Aquaman stuff. This was. I mean, I know that basically Aquaman and Namor are just kind of like answers to one another as far as the DC versus Marvel stuff. But
I think Aquaman is a knockoff of Namor comic-wise.
Well, either way, they're foils of one another in the back and forth between the two comic book makers. But I mean, the way that he put all that to create this whole year, the MCU that been rich to play with, new different things with this. I mean, honestly, Ryan Coogler may be one of the doctors right now. I mean, I'm not going up there with Spielberg. Yeah, Spielberg's the GOAT. But I mean, when you close the book on Ryan Coogler's career, he's probably going to be top 3. It's like everything this guy's done has been amazing. The storytelling that he does from Fruitvale Station up to this has been insane. I can't imagine how anybody else could have done a job with this movie the way that he did. The other thing is the high level of emotion in this movie it's ridiculous. It starts out the opening scene where Shuri is frantically trying to recreate the heart-shaped herb to save her brother. It's like you start off as intense as this movie really is at any point. It's like you are right in it. And when Raimondo walks in and says, your brother is going with the ancestors, you feel that immediately, and they haven't even rolled it. I mean, you are instantly sucked into the emotion of this movie barely before the movie even starts, and it really does run throughout the course of the movie from one step to another. Yeah, there's jokes, yeah, there's action, but I mean, you're really wrapped up in this. You're wrapped up in this movie differently than you were ever wrapped up in anything that the MCU has put in there. Yeah, has put out there. It's that good.
I don't know.
The cameos worked. It's like. Go ahead.
Oh, sorry, you were cutting out. No, I was going to say, I don't know if this movie, okay, if you take away the obviously effect of Chadwick Boseman passing away tragically and everything else, this is a mid-Marvel movie. This is no different than anything else that we've gotten in Phase 4. And I mean, obviously, I'm not the real mark for Marvel movies that some fans are. I'm not like y'all or Mr. Marvel, that cover this stuff. But objectively, this is not much better than Thor or anything else that we've gotten since Endgame. And I mean, yes, it's sad and it's tragic that Chadwick Boseman died, but
let's be honest, the fact that he died is probably a lot of the appeal to this movie, like almost like a memorial to him. People are going to see it because he died.
Well, that's the thing. People are going to praise this movie, and I've seen a lot of people do it just because he passed away. And obviously, I know that's the point of this, but they should have recast T'Challa. This movie suffers
100%. 100%.
This movie suffers because I don't find this chick believable as the Black Panther.
I think they rushed through the storyline of what it could be after he died. And they could have just kept with whatever original plan they had for a sequel. Is if he hadn't died by recasting, and I think it would have been a way. I mean, I'll be honest, I haven't seen it, but from what I've heard, I think the quality of the plot would have been better if they kept with the original plan and recast.
I went back and I watched the first Black Panther because I saw two, then I wanted to go back and see one to kind of tell differences. And the one thing that really stood out to me was, and I mean, it doesn't affect me emotionally that Chadwick Boseman died. I've never been a fan of his. I didn't know anything of him besides he played Jackie Robinson. He played Black Panther. That's all I knew. So just as an average movie fan, I watched Black Panther again, and you could tell the heart he had for the role, and you believed him. Whereas pretty much all the other Wakandans, I don't have that. I don't feel the same when it comes to them. And, it's just, this movie feels forced. It feels that if you speak out against this movie, you're problematic and you just hate Chadwick Boseman. You just blah, 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 whatever. And it's like I said, this is a mid-Marvel movie. It's your typical Phase 4 film that beat you over the head with Chadwick Boseman died. That's what this movie was to me. And, I mean, it is what it is. Just, call a spade a spade. It's, the Atlantis or whatever. It's not called Atlantis in this movie. They gave it Torma. I don't even know what the hell the word is. It looks bad. I mean, when you look at Aquaman, we just saw what Atlantis could look like. Hell, the Gungan city in Star Wars looked better from episode 1 or 2, whatever that movie was. I did not like how that was done. I mean,
oh no,
I did not like it. I like I said, controversial points, take it for what they will, but I did not like how they visually did that when we just saw how cool it could look with Aquaman. And I think this movie's not going to age well when you've got Avatar 2 coming out that's going to have all this underwater stuff that looks amazing. I think that's going to make this movie look even worse. So I don't know, maybe that was artistic, decision making, whatever, but I thought Namor looked clunky with all that crappy war. The CGI was good, but hey, it's a Marvel movie. You expect the CGI to be good. They spent how many millions of dollars to make this thing, but it's a Phase 4 movie.
They'll make a third one?
Probably. I mean, it's Marvel.
So even if this one sucks, they might be able to save the franchise, at least for this group, by putting more time and thought into the plot for the third one instead of just scrambling to put
Iron
together
Man 3 sucked and they kept making Iron Man and stuff. So yeah, I don't see that they stopped doing this. Thor 2 was horrible and they made 2 more after that. And the fourth one was even worse than 2. So this is, Marvel. Marvel's a machine at this point. It's almost as if it doesn't matter if the movies are good or bad. It's just, here's the next Marvel movie you have to see. And I think that's the phase we're getting into. So I don't know. Go ahead, Frank.
Well, I vehemently disagree that they were beating you over the head with Chadwick Boseman's death. It was the elephant in the room. You couldn't avoid it. There was no way around not. It is a central.
But if they had recast him, Frank, they wouldn't have to do anything with it.
Yeah, I would have recast. I
100% agree that they should have recast it. Oh yeah, I 100% they should have recast it. I think that was a terrible mistake.
Yeah.
But at the same time, it's like, you can't avoid the fact that Chadwick Boseman died. If you were going to make this and not cast, there was no other way to deal with it other than to deal with his death. To deal with not with the death of Chadwick Boseman, but the death of T'Challa. So that is a central. It is one of the things that drives Shuri for this entire movie. It's one of the things that really affects Ramon. The whole speech that she makes when she's having that conversation with Okoye. It's like you get a little bit of that in the trailer where she's talking. She's lost her husband. She's lost her son. What more can she sacrifice? Moment that stems from missing the character. So dying has to be a central part of the film because look, been here before, and before I can just a lot of credit. They've been here before once, not too long ago, when Carrie Fisher passed away. They were like, how do we live with not, she just passed away right after the second of the new trilogy came out. So how do we make this movie without her? Do we recast, which is something a lot of people thought they should have done. Some facial whatever, like they did with Paul Walker to finish up the last Fast and Furious. Their way that you were going to satisfy a large group of people. So the only thing you can really do is your best for the story and hope that it all works out in the end. And I think they were in the same boat here. So they were like, well, we can't just use old footage because we don't really have anything that fits this movie, that fits anything else. I don't even know how much old footage they had from the first movie or from even, you know, like Endgame or any other stuff that he was in.
So, I mean, he's been in a number of Marvel movies. Going back to Civil War, right?
Yeah. Yeah, but how much stock footage do they have? Is what I'm saying. Stock footage, because you can. You might be able to roundabout say that maybe, you know, whatever, that maybe he's back to wherever the hell the explosion happened in Civil War that even got him into, brought him into MCU anyway. I mean, maybe you could say he was back there, but I mean, you still have to figure out a way to make all this work in the story. A lot of the story, even before Chadwick Boseman's passing, was all about grief, because from what I've heard, I actually watched a video about this yesterday, a lot of the story was going to be about his grief for being gone for 5 years after being snapped away. Some that, you know, not because him and Shuri both got snapped away. We don't quite know if Ramonda got snapped. I think the assumption is that she didn't. But so I mean that. So yeah, we were going to be dealing with grief anyway. What more to grieve if you want to keep that as like a big driving force behind this entire film? What bigger thing do you grieve other than the death of T'Challa? So you had to either use it or recast him. They said they weren't going to recast him, so they really only had one path they could walk down.
I don't know. To me, the whole movie, it was, like I said, it was too, it felt bloated.
And ultimately, I think the movie's a win. Was it as good? Was it as good as the original? Absolutely not. Absolutely not. No, as the first Black Panther.
Hell no.
But this was as good a movie as they possibly could have churned out, in my opinion. I don't think they could have been better.
Was the soundtrack good? The musical score?
I mean, if you like that kind of
movie,
music,
was epic.
I know the main song was it "Raise Me Up" or something by Rihanna. Like I saw a music video of it on YouTube the other day.
Oh, I've heard that song. I didn't know it was for this movie. But that's cool.
Yeah, that was for this film. So they got some big names for the soundtrack and all. And I mean, like I said, visually, it's a Marvel film. They did well in that. So, you know, the CGI was pretty solid. But the only real fight from the movie that I honestly enjoyed was the first encounter with Namor and all that, and the Atlanteans or whatever the hell they're called in this movie, the fucking Atlanteans, assholes. You know, it's I just found the Wakandan nation as a whole very villainish, very. You know, they were hoarding their power. I mean, hell, they had Thanos and Ultron and all these things. And hell, you just had Black Panther coming out saying that they're going to, you know, share with the world and do all this. They already had all these agreements and stuff. And obviously, I get it. You know, the Queen lost everything. But they came off very bad to me in this movie. And that's just the story direction that it took. But to me, the Wakandans seem like the villains here. And I'm sure this is going to lead into some. I know we're getting a Thunderbolts movie in with Julia Louis-Dreyfus. She's kind of the head of the Thunderbolts or whatever. I got a feeling the Thunderbolts are going to be invading Wakanda or something in that movie. And there was a lot of the social commentary in this of the Wakandans did a lot of preaching to the colonizers and everything else. And I don't know. I don't want to jump on their virtue signal preaching. I don't want to do that on every film, but it kind of felt like that in ways. And I didn't like I didn't like how they did the Wakandans. And if we're supposed to look at them as the heroes, they did a lot of villainous stuff, in my opinion. And I just don't believe them as the good guys here. I mean, and you know, I don't know. That's just my perspective, but it wasn't great. It could have been better.
Their backs against the wall here. Yeah, they kind of have their backs against the wall here because now that they've outed themselves to the world as just a farming country, but a technologically advanced country that has this metal that is so awesome. Now there are people after them. That changes the dynamic of what Wakanda is now on the world stage. So I get that she is more defensive, especially when you consider that they don't have their protector there anymore. There is no Black Panther. With T'Challa dying, this does leave them susceptible to open to threats and susceptible to those kinds of things. So if you want to work a little bit of the real world into it, it makes sense that they would be on a much more defensive footing throughout this course of this movie because of everything that's happened before that. So, I mean, I get it. I totally get why they are not happy-go-lucky Wakanda like we saw in the first movie. I mean, because
no, of course, I'm not saying that
they're in a much different position.
Well, but like more to my,
because it feels like they're the bad guys in this movie, but they're much more defensive in this movie than they have been at any point prior in the MCU.
Well, and obviously, I know Black Panther came along after, like the Ultrons and this and that, and all these other big events. But, if they're supposed to be the moral standard of what good people are, they hid themselves away while they had all of this power and technology and let all of this bad stuff happen. And then they preached to the world how they should be whenever they had the technology and the ability to help and stop a lot of these things. And I mean, let's also look at, Wakanda, as much as the colonization was preached in this movie, did they not do the same thing to build their kingdoms and everything else, in these African nations? It very hypocritical in my opinion in the storytelling. Well, if you look back in the history of how Wakanda was formed, is what I'm saying.
But that's a history lesson. That's probably a separate thing. But
that's what I'm saying. I'm talking about something separate.
I don't think there was a whole lot of preachy stuff. Well, she refers to them as colonizers mostly just to kind of jab at them. I don't think there's really
right, but you know how that comes off when it's put in a movie. Though you get what I'm saying, it's the intent.
I know how it comes off when it's their perspective. From their perspective, that's a valid point of view. So again, you're talking about going back 200 history, if not more. So I mean, but whatever. But if you're looking at it from the African point of view, it makes perfect sense. But I don't think there was any really. Now in the first movie there was a little bit of preachy stuff. This movie there really wasn't that. I didn't think. I on the it was mostly part. In this movie, really was stuff going on in Wakanda. It was Shuri, grief, that name more. Us trying to discover exactly what the Talakans are all about. Is there still a role that the government or SHIELD or whoever else is, well, SHIELD's kind of gone now, but is there still a role that they're playing in all of this? It was much more self-contained than that.
Was Nick
Fury? I didn't get the preachiness out of this one that I got at times in the first one. No,
there was none. There was no Nick Fury, Cora. He was not.
Again,
unfortunately, because Sam Jackson
is he on the moon that's circling Jupiter? Because where the fuck has he been?
Or is it the Skrull version? Is it the fake Nick Fury? Like, which one are we not getting here? You have to ask, because Marvel's got like 15 of them now. So which multiverse Nick Fury are we going
to get? At all in this movie.
I don't know.
There's no Nick Fury at all in this movie, which I didn't mind. Because one of the things that you run the risk of with any Marvel movie anymore is it's going to be a little overcrowded, and you didn't want to start cramming people in there just so you could say you had Nick Fury in your movie, just so you could say you had Bruce Banner, just so you could say you had this person or that person. Like I said, there was always so much this movie needed to do, because you're dealing not only with the death of Chadwick Boseman, you're dealing with the death of T'Challa, and you're dealing with the death of Black Panther. Those are three very different things that mean something different to a different group of people. So as viewers, we're trying to figure out how they do this without Chad Boseman. As fans, we're trying to figure out how they're going to do this without Black Panther, because he's one of the Avengers. And then and the Wakandans are dealing without T'Challa. So there's three different things that you have to kind of mourn. And hopefully Jerry's getting this, he's trying to pop in. So I can Jeremy here, I hope. What's going on, buddy?
There, we got it. Hang on, we haven't heard him yet. Does he speak?
Yeah,
Fingers crossed. Holy shit, it worked. There we go. What's up, babe?
I don't know.
You sound excited.
No, not really. Huh?
Good to see you, Eeyore. That's what you sound like, Eeyore.
So what do you think about the movie, dude?
Well, it was definitely 3 hours long, and you felt every fucking minute of it.
Wow. Tex, you're not alone.
I was wondering if I was going to be the only wet blanket. I'm glad I'm not. That's cool. Okay.
No, I was kind of sitting there. I'm like, God damn. I mean, okay, but are we really gonna? How long is this fucking movie? Because it kind of, honestly, the beginning and the end was good. Like it felt heartfelt, it felt genuine. You know, it was emotional. I knew we had to address the obvious elephant in the room, and you know, you can only do so much with that. Obviously, you know, I mean, I guess kind of making it almost as meta as you can. Like, oh, he just dies by some mysterious ailment that they can't fix, and I'm like, okay, well, fair enough, that works. I don't care.
Do y'all think it would have been better if Black Panther had like been mysteriously murdered, then you find out Namor had done it later on in the film? That's one thing I did think of. I thought that might have been better than he had a mysterious illness.
Maybe, because I mean, again, like I kind of felt a little too meta. I'm like, oh, I get it. You know,
right. Well, I mean, he took, you know, Black Panther takes that heart-shaped herb that literally you can get stabbed in the stomach with a spear and it does nothing, which we saw in this movie. So, you know, it didn't make a lot of sense with the film rules that a mysterious illness can kill you, but you can pretty much get skewered and you're fine. You just walk away as if it's a boo-boo. You know what I mean?
Well, and I don't know if it's just science, whatnot, but I mean, technically the one that Shuri took was one that she manufactured, so it was a synthetic, you know, heart-shaped herb. It wasn't the real one, but I was kind of like, well, yeah, all right. I don't know. Maybe there's still limitations to it. And then, I don't know, as smart as she is, maybe she made hers a little different. I don't know.
Maybe they should have said he had COVID.
Oh, maybe. That would have been great. Even the heart-shaped herb couldn't take over the big bad C word. Oh, that would have been so meta. I would have loved that. That would have been hilarious. They should have did that. So that would have been great. I don't know. I didn't believe her Black Panther.
That would have been
It kind of got a little drawn out, and I mean, some of the action scenes were cool, and I don't know, I felt a little disconnected. I mean, the problem is, I'm like, we kind of still got to the same place in the end, so I'm like, okay, so what did we do all that for? Because I mean, you know, Namor is not gonna. He's just kind of like, you know, well, now they're kind of on our side and they're going to need our help. And then we're going to screw them over. I'm like, so you're doing the same thing you were doing the other 2.5 hours of this fucking movie. I'm like, okay.
Pretty much. Yeah. Pretty much. You're spot on with that. Yeah.
I'm like, okay, sure. I feel like maybe there could have been more to this, or maybe not more, because I didn't want to sit there for 4 hours, but
well,
I didn't think it was a bad movie. I was just kind of like, you know, it seemed a little weird when they try to do the little, like, I mean, I did genuinely laugh at some of the little quips and jokes, but I'm just kind of like, yeah, it's almost like it was kind of like, oh shit, hey, we're laughing now. Okay, there's a funny thing that happened. Okay. And
it was not well paced. Like, it was very jarring from one scene to the next at times. I did think that as well. They tried to cram too much in, and it was a roller coaster that didn't work out for me. That was another issue that I had. I completely agree.
I was maybe trying to understand where the thing I was thinking about most was like Shuri. I'm like trying to understand like where she's coming from. I'm like, I know she's frustrated because she lost her brother, because, you know, she was just trying her hardest to try and like stop it, and then, you know, it was too late. I don't know, maybe she blames herself, but I'm just like, this didn't really seem like the same Shuri that we'd seen in the previous Black Panther. I'm like, yeah, I don't know. I liked her in that movie because I thought, you know, she was fun. She was quippy and funny, and you know, obviously like stupid smart, but I'm like, this just felt a little off. I can understand the grieving over her brother, but
well, yeah, the grieving's natural. It's just I don't know. I kind of have a rule.
Maybe it's the revenge path she was on. Maybe it's the revenge path she was on that was kind of, or vengeful path rather, that she was on with Namor. I mean, it was just a little weird.
Well, I'm sorry, but T'Challa is the Black Panther. He was the best. He was the best part of the first movie, and I wasn't even crazy about the first movie, but I enjoyed him in that movie. Like I said, he felt different from the other guys, and not just because he was the star and everything else, but you genuinely felt like he enjoyed being that character. And this movie lacked for it, and you didn't. The one scene for me that I really liked. Well, it does overshadow, but the one scene that I thought was very powerful was Angela Bassett. Is that her name? The queen or whatever?
Mm-hmm.
The speech where she gives, where she's talking about all that she's lost. The passion in that scene was very good. I appreciated her in that scene, and I'm pretty sure she actually is Marie Laveau from American Horror Story Coven, because she looks exactly the same as she did 10 years ago. She might be a vampire, I don't know, but that was a very good scene. But
yeah,
you know, it's
Angela Bassett just fucking chews any scene she's in, man. She like she commands a damn room, dude. That's why I was like, oh my good god, she can talk to General Okoye in that banner, and I'm like, shit, I'd be on my knees like fucking too, just like she was. I'm like, god damn.
She could have been reading the phone book in that scene, and it would have been just as good. What she said didn't matter there. It's how she said it and how she presented herself. I thought that was excellent. But it's just it's like I said earlier, this is a Phase 4 Marvel film for me. If you take away the emotional Chadwick Boseman stuff, it's another Phase 4 Marvel film. And it just missed the mark. It wasn't good. It wasn't bad. It was just, it's a Marvel film. This doesn't.
I don't know where we
ended
up.
I don't know.
I didn't know where we ended up with at the end. You know, I think excuse me. I guess I like the beginning and I like the end, because I'm like, okay, we're addressing the thing. We just jumped right into it, and I'm like, okay, shit. And then we had the funeral scene, and then we have, you know, it kind of started like it was going somewhere with the whole, you know, hey, we have vibranium, and we're not gonna share it with you. I'm like, well, that feels a little odd, because the last movie you were just like, hey, we're gonna out ourselves.
I said the exact same thing. Yeah.
I mean, someone put it this way: it's like, how are you gonna be like that? But then, you know, turn around and just, you know, someone's like, they put like a thing of Wakanda in the background. They put like, Wakanda, it's okay when we do it. And like, yeah, right.
Thank you. That I've been looking for a line, and that's it right there. That's what I'm saying. The Wakandans felt very villainous to me. You could have put them as an antagonist in an Iron Man film, and I would have bought it, and it would have been great. But they're not the heroes in this movie. Obviously, I know Chadwick Boseman. I don't know. I don't buy it.
I know you don't. I know they don't need anybody. They don't really need anything. But I mean, it feels weird to just backtrack now, and it's I don't know. If you wanted to go out there and, you know, you could probably help other people of the world, but I'm like, okay, but now if you're just not going to, I mean, she even said, like, in that scene with the UN, I'm like, yeah, well, you know, people are people, and, you know, other nations are going to start doing this. And I know I'm assuming that it was the people from France that she caught, because she puts them in that room and says, hey, okay, here you go, you're welcome, got your guys back for you. I'm like, well, yeah, but you can't be mad when, like, you say, hey, you know, here we are. And then, now the thing I thought was interesting was that because I was under the impression that there was supposed to be no other vibranium in the world except for in Wakanda. But the fact of the matter is that there was some out in the ocean, somewhere else.
Then you find out there was a second asteroid or whatever that.
Yeah, it's like, oh crap! That's why I thought, oh crap, okay, we're going somewhere. I'm like, that's a big deal. Well, like, oh yeah, everybody's gonna be claiming after it, and then I guess that kind of sets up Namor, because then he comes in, and now they're, you know, the Wakandans.
I don't know my Marvel lore or anything, but is there a planet made of vibranium that these asteroids came from or something? Is there a planet out there?
Probably. I mean, that's, I guess, where it had to have come from. I mean, I guess kind of like Superman, I suppose. It's like there was kryptonite,
Krypton,
and like it all came from his planet, which is now gone. So there's only so much of it now, just floating out there in space. So,
it's I
don't know.
I don't know. It feels like they're building to because I do believe you get adamantium from vibranium, which would lead to almost like a Wolverine Easter egg, right? For whatever their Wolverine's going to be in this universe. So,
I've always wondered that.
Right. Well, that's what I'm saying. I'm pretty sure comic-wise that's how it happened. Don't hold me to that, but I'm pretty sure. But it's just
Cap's shield and Bucky's arm are both vibranium, right?
I think so.
And then like I thought, well, with adamantium, I was like, I always wondered, I'm like, okay, so if like Cap and Wolverine got into a fight, you clash vibranium and fucking adamantium, like, so who would win? Like, which one's stronger? I don't know.
Realistically, you cut Captain America's arms off Wolverine's claws, he ain't holding that shield anytime soon anyway. So he's fucked. But,
Super Soldier can't regenerate. I mean, I guess that's fair. Yeah.
He's not the lizard, you know what I mean?
All right,
but
fine. We have Cap throw Deadpool his shield, and now Deadpool and Wolverine get into a fight. How about that? That would be hysterical.
That's the movie that we need to see. That's the movie I want. Yes. I don't know.
Get them on that. And I guess my final thing is we were kind of both right. I was like, yeah, it was Shuri. Woo. Okay, she was Black Panther. And then the ending scene, like when when she walked out there with that kid, I was like, oh, no way. They had a kid, didn't they? And he says his name was T'Challa. I'm like, okay, see, now you could then, like we said before, well, should we have Shuri do it? Should we have someone else do it? Or should we have a new actor? I'm like, well, there's your new actor then right there. You could say it's that kid. You could bring someone else in who's a little bit older to be able to do it. Or that kid looked pretty young, but like, we're not going to wait for him to.
Seriously, how old do you think that kid was, like, in the world? Like not his actual age, but like movie character.
Oh, I was going to say, well, he had to.
Maybe 10? Well, I don't
know. Oh, no, I thought he was like. Well, if we're sitting between the two movies, right? Didn't they say they were like, oh, it's been 6 years since you left Wakanda. I'm like, he looks young. I don't know if I'd say he was 6. But it had to be in between when the last time we saw them together and then up until he died. So I'm like, I don't know. You could flash forward a little bit and have a somewhat older. Yeah, you could have some different actor now play him grown up and still have T'Challa, quote unquote, as Black Panther.
Let's see. How old are the other younger kids in the Marvel Avenger world? Because I know they want to build to that Young Avengers or whatever. So does his age line up with the other younger versions of characters in the world, or like what are we on?
I mean, they're probably in there.
You got Cassie, probably 18 now, 18.
Yeah, like they're probably in their late teens, maybe like early to mid 20s with like Florence Pugh. So
Kate Bishop.
Holy shit!
Yeah, Florence Pugh and Kate Bishop's character, the Kate Bishop character, they're probably in their 20s.
Yeah, probably mid 20s.
So there's even a substantial age. I'm sure Marvel has a way of we put him in a training realm, and he's going to come out 15 years older, so he can be new Black Panther by next movie. I can see them doing something like that. You know what I mean?
He'll be in the quantum realm because remember time does move differently.
Oh yeah, he jumped through a time portal that Wong opened up, and he came out 20 years old or something. I don't know, just something like that. But it can happen.
Because of the new Ant-Man movie.
You got to remember,
the quantum realm.
Yeah, you guys are assuming that we're going to see this new version of T'Challa again. That's a pretty.
It was kind of all but in our
credits.
Sure,
yeah, it was kind of all but in our face. I was like, okay, if we're doing that, that's a nice setup.
Yeah. But Marvel's done that with us though. They've given us these post-credit scenes that aren't. This one was significant, but they may or may not build off it. I mean, you have the whole post-credit scene at the end of Iron Man 3 that you find out that the whole time Tony was telling this story to Bruce. That's not a significant part forward. It's a scene. It's funny. It's not like you're going to build a whole part of the universe. So maybe that scene of her introducing little baby T'Challa is kind of a way to memorialize Chadwick Boseman more than saying this guy is going to be the new Black Panther. Maybe sometime down the line, but I think
I didn't say it right away.
Shuri is Black Panther. I think she's going to be the Black Panther moving forward.
Oh yeah, no, I didn't mean like he's gonna like the next damn movie he's gonna be Black Panther. I mean, no. Like this seems like if they're gonna have a setup, there's the setup right there. If not, like you said, to just maybe at least give us a little, memorial to Chadwick Boseman, which either way I'm fine with. Because, I mean, I don't know how old Letitia Wright is, but she could do this for a next good while,
I mean, now she's not 30. I mean, even
she's the woman that's the current Black Panther right now, right?
Conceivably do this for 10 years.
Yeah.
At the end of this movie, yeah.
She needs to. I mean, obviously, I know she's got superpowers now, but can you bulk up a little bit if you're going to be a superhero? I can't take you seriously when you look like you're 50 pounds.
That's one of the things.
It is a little weird, but whatever, man. Superpowers.
Yeah, I can't.
Right.
Yeah. Look, I understand that the mantle of Black Panther, that the rulership of the leader of Wakanda is part of this familial line, but Black Panther can be anybody. So it's traditional that the leader of Wakanda is Black Panther. But let's face it, it's not like T'Chaka was putting on the Black Panther suit and kicking ass up until Civil War. Like he had definitely taken a back seat and was running.
He can barely walk, yeah.
While his son T'Challa was doing the dirty work. So who's to say that she ends up leader of Wakanda, especially now that Ramonda is dead, and that maybe someone else will take the mantle of Black Panther in the future, perhaps T'Challa, but I mean, hopefully somebody else. Because I'm with you guys. Not only do I think they should have just moved forward that way, I really do think that if they were going to go this route and deal with the death of Chadwick Boseman and make somebody else Black Panther, there was 2 or 3 other people out there that really should have gotten it that makes more sense than Shuri. Because Shuri's value has always been she's the smartest person in the MCU. Now she's also this great fighter in Black Panther. She can hold her own in a fight, and that's great, but she's not T'Challa. She's not M'Baku. She's not even Okoye. It's like I would consider both better warriors. So why not let one of them pick up the mantle, even if it is just on a temporary basis, until you can figure out how to handle this character moving forward for the long term.
I would have said, I guess the next one that could have done it would have been like Okoye, because, you did just have her get stripped of her rank. I'm like, would that not have been a pretty cool comeback if now she was the Black Panther? And someone else could have been the general of the Dora Milaje, and Shuri could still do her stuff. And even if they were going to set up Riri to be kind of like Shuri's, taking under her wing and being the smart person, that's what I thought it was going to. And then she just, pieced out. I was like, oh, okay, bye. Well, God, we saw your janky Iron Man suit for 10 minutes and then bye. Thanks for your help.
Hello?
Hello?
Hi.
Go ahead. What were you saying?
Hi.
It got really quiet. I was listening, all of a sudden it got really quiet.
Yeah, I said a whole thing and then no one.
I'm here,
Yeah,
so
hello?
I just want you to know I was listening.
Can you hear me?
I can hear
you.
you.
Yeah, we got you.
Can Frank hear me, though? You guys can hear me.
He's having some issues off and on where he's glitching in and out.
Yeah, Frank's internet hates him right now. So.
Well, so does mine, because that's what I was doing this whole time. I couldn't
Frank's
figure out what
internet
the hell.
hates him as much as Tex hated Halloween Ends.
Don't even mention Halloween Ends in my presence.
I'm just saying the internet's as bad as that movie was.
I don't even know what the hell was going on with mine. So.
Yeah, we got you there, dude.
Well, oh God, where was I?
Yeah, but let's deal with the one big death that happened in this movie, and that was the death of Ramonda. I did not see that coming. There was a couple of big surprises in that movie, and that one is the one that really blew me away.
I didn't
think having to deal with the death of T'Challa, that there was going to be another significant death in this movie. I thought that might have been a little too heavy. But they were just like, we're going through this emotional ride dealing with death and grief. Let's kill somebody else too that's going to drastically change the DNA of at least this character in this part of the world. And let's kill Wakanda. And that was insane. I did not see that coming. Now it didn't look. It wasn't like I didn't cry at the movie or anything, but I was like, no way. It's like my jaw hit the floor. I didn't see it coming. I mean, Jeremy, is that something that you thought was even a possibility as you were buying your ticket and walking into the theater for this?
No, because I just didn't. I mean, we'd already lost enough. I mean, yeah, I could not say that I was expecting that, but I mean, I guess if you really wanted to, pull Volt Shuri into almost getting pretty dark there for a minute, I'm like, damn, she just lost her brother, and then her mom. Oh, holy crap, dude. Man, just that one kind of got me. I was just like, and she dives down there to save Riri and comes back up, and then she's not breathing, and then she comes back. I'm like, oh no. Damn it. I don't know if you guys already talked about this, but maybe that was kind of the whole point. Is there a reason why she saw Killmonger instead of, well, I know we couldn't just put Chadwick in there, but like
I took that as she was just more pissed off at his character.
We haven't quite gotten to that.
Huh?
Yeah. You're saying we haven't quite got there. I was surprised about that.
Oh, okay. I thought maybe that was the whole, it seems like when you take the thing, you kind of see who you not really want to see, but I don't know. We'll get there, I guess.
Well, on the course of this movie, so it kind of makes sense. That's who sees. That's her heart is this need for vengeance, and who can relate to that feeling more than Killmonger? So maybe it makes. That's one of the reasons why it made sense to me. She saw him in the astral plane, and not her brother or her dad or her mother or something like that. That kind of made sense to me.
I think it was a mix of that, and obviously that you couldn't bring back Chadwick Boseman. So we need somebody else that the people liked from the first film, and he's still alive in the real world. So the rage with her character and his character, that fits. And he's obviously up, alive, and breathing. We can plug him in here. That's kind of how I felt that may happen, which I like to see him because I wish they would have done some sort of Wakandan magic to bring him back, and he was the new Black Panther. That was what I was hoping for. I didn't figure it would happen, but so goes the story. So it was what it was, but I did think the scene with all the flames and all that crap was really cool, though. I did think that was good. So
because again, if visually, like you said, I'm like maybe because when T'Challa
right there,
he's like he saw his dad. I'm like, that kind of makes sense, and he's in this peaceful like African savannah in the ethereal plane or whatever it is. And I'm like, but then Shuri comes in there and she sees Killmonger just sitting on the throne like a boss, and like as he's just like feeling her fucking anger, those flames just come up. I'm like, yeah, this seems very symbolic. This is kind of where she's at, because he even kind of says to her, if I'm correct, he said like, maybe you're more like me. Are you going to be like sympathetic like your brother, or are you going to be like me and take care of shit? I'm like,
well, I mean, not to rush to the ending, but fire and heat become very important for the end of this film. But anybody who's already seen that knows what I'm talking about. So, it kind of fit with it as well that, fire was a theme in this movie, which, but it was, that scene was cool, and how they did that, maybe you're more like me. That scene was cool. They shouldn't have killed off Killmonger because they really desperately needed him in this movie. Imagine if they had not killed him off, and this was like his hero arc where he's still kind of an anti-hero Black Panther. He still feels the way that he does, but he acts more heroic. They could have done something like that, which would have been cool, and I think would have went over better. Because I just don't buy this chick as Black Panther, and I know it's in the comic book and everything else. And as much as I preach, stick to stick to the format of it. But even in the comic book, the chick Black Panther looked believable. This girl does not. I'm sorry. It's just, you know, superpowers are not visually. I don't believe it. And I don't buy it. But you know, that's just my.
Yeah, I mean, like I don't want to harp on her because you know, like way she looks. I'm just like I don't know. I thought it was a little weird. You know, like you look like you weigh like 100 pounds. I don't know. No, I mean, like if she's gonna be like it's not like she still couldn't kick ass. I mean, obviously with the powers, I mean, she could do some damage. Well, but I'm like, shit, she could be pretty light on her feet and stealthy. Just you know.
I liked M'Baku in this movie. I thought he was cool. I wanted him to be the Black Panther, and I knew it wasn't going to happen. But I wanted him to become the Black Panther. He was probably my favorite out of anybody in this movie. I would say, actual character, he was my favorite. I really like the looks of the Atlantean, or whatever the hell they are, named people, all blue and looking like sharks and shit. I thought that was badass. But as far as characters alone, M'Baku was it for me. The rest of them, The what? What was that, Frank?
I think you said what they were, and
they're not the.
Oh, the Talikans. Talikans. Okay. I keep calling them Atlanteans because I'm a DC guy.
I know what's going on with Frank. You're going between universes. You're traveling, and you keep coming back to us.
Frank has went through the quantum realm.
Yep.
I wish it was that simple.
We can't see him there.
I mean, hell, he even did that thing at the end where, I mean, was that not M'Baku that came out and said like, I want a challenge for?
Yeah. Well, so I was like, that's what I'm saying. Why couldn't we do that earlier in the film? That would have been cool. I mean, you kind of would have been remaking the first Black Panther if you did that. But he's a liked character. The people enjoy him, and he's a believable superhero. I would have went with him, but that's just me. So.
I mean, he's probably got like 200 pounds on that girl. So I mean, and the thing is, when they take away your powers,
one of his shoulder blades is the size of her. Come on, like he's gonna look like Brock Lesnar here. He's gonna come in and just wreck shit. That's what he's gonna do. So yeah,
I mean,
give that dude the heart-shaped herb and go crazy.
Yeah, I guess it's nice that we still have. I mean, I guess we're assuming we watched them like plant the stuff. Again, and now they have more of the herbs. Although it is kind of hilarious that it seems like the one thing she needed was apparently from them, from Namor. I'm like, yeah, well, I mean, we're assuming they have like vibranium shit too. I'm like, but I don't know why theirs suddenly worked. That Shuri couldn't figure it out. That she needed something from them, and along with like Chadwick's DNA and whatnot, and whatever her techno science, bullshittery to make these new herbs.
Bullshittery.
I
love that term.
I watch too much Soviet Womble, and that's what he names all of his videos.
That's great.
Yeah, they're all the bullshittery videos. But like that's what I mean. I don't know.
That's funny.
It just seems kind of weird. That was the one little cataclysm that needed, something. The light bulb went off in her head, and I was like, "Oh, and the thing I got from them."
Well,
I don't know.
This film, I mean, Frank, it's like you said earlier, or at the beginning. They had a lot to do in this film, and it's a very ambitious movie. I just think they tried to do too much, and for me, it's unsuccessful. It was a long movie, and it's a boring movie a lot of time. Visually stunning. A lot of good things in this movie. There's some good actors in this film. But I find out there's not a lot of people I want to root for in this movie. That's my problem. And I don't know. It's Phase 4 Marvel. I mean, it's part of the course that we've seen in these last few ones, unfortunately. And, I wanted it to be better because, obviously with Chadwick Boseman dying, that's a big deal. But I don't like this movie. It did not work for me at all. I mean, it's unfortunately.
Yeah, I'll get now into some of the other things I didn't like about it. Did you guys notice that there are now 3 more Iron Men? It's like,
yeah.
I don't get it. It's like, well,
I think
I understand the introduction of Ironheart because she's getting her own TV series, so that's one thing.
right.
But now people flying around with Iron Man kind of suit that wait for them. I don't know why. It's like, look, like I said, introducing the Riri Williams character was one thing because she's getting her own Disney Plus show, so you had to put her in somewhere. This seemed like a decent enough place to do it. But I mean, the other two, now there's two Wakandan Iron Men. I just, that to me didn't work. If you really want somebody flying around in an Iron Man suit, just bring back Tony Stark because that's what everybody wants anyway. That's what you want to do. That's what you're ultimately going to do eventually. Just go to Universe fucking 287 or whatever bullshit and bring back that Tony Stark and have Iron Man back in the universe again. Because if you're going to do it, I just want you to do it. What did you guys think about now having 3 new Ironclad?
It feels like we're building.
I think we're actually going to see it again in the MCU.
It feels like they just did that to build to that Armor Wars movie or TV show that may or may not come. That's what that felt like to me. Everybody has an Iron Man now. You know what I'm saying? Like, that's what it felt like it was a lead too. And, you know, I when I'm watching, you know, obviously Ironheart, Riri Williams, very Mary Sue-ish, very much what's her face from the new Star Wars films. She kind of gets the Iron Man. I mean, she's a college student. She's just creating this stuff out of nowhere. We don't know anything about her. She's not Tony Stark, and she doesn't seem to have the problems that Tony Stark did creating all of this stuff. And obviously, I know this is the second iteration, and you know now we've ran through Iron Man, Captain America, Thor, and Hulk. Now we're getting to their female sidekicks version. This just feels like, oh, girl Iron Man. She doesn't have any of the struggles and just gets right to it. It's kind of what that felt like, and it didn't feel like it fit this movie. Obviously, it was a big plot point and everything else, but it derailed a lot of things in this film for me. And it was just a seed for Armor Wars if it ever gets made. You know, they keep pushing it back. Hell, who knows at this point? But kind of a Mary Sue. That's kind of what it felt like to me. I don't know what you think, Jeremy.
You're talking about Rey from Star Wars? Yeah,
Rey. Yeah, that's what I was trying to think of. She kind of felt like that for me. That's what it kind of felt like.
I can understand. I don't know. I can understand to a degree of storytelling. It's like, yeah, we've been here before. We understand. You know, like we know how they got there. I'm like, give them some struggle, but don't just flat out be like, right to the finish. I mean,
well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, Iron Man. I mean, hell, he almost died in that, Afghanistan desert. He almost killed himself trying to train these suits and everything else. And she just kind of do. I'm Ironheart now. Just accept it. Let's move on. And the CGI on that suit looked like crap, by the way. They needed to spend some more money on what that suit looked like too when you finally see it. But I don't know.
I feel like it should have been a little bit bigger of a more. If it was going to be more important, I feel like it should have. I kind of wondered, like, really, other than the plot point of her being the one who made the stuff to find the vibranium, I was just kind of like, I won't even catch it. Like, the guy just like screams like, "Oh, she's got an Iron Man suit." I was like, "She's got a what?" And then it just went off. I was like, "All right, we'll get back to it, I guess." And I didn't really catch it. I heard something about Iron Man.
What does Frank say? You can fix any problem with one line of dialogue or something.
I guess, but I was just kind of like, I'm like, well, yeah, it looks, I guess, like an Iron Man suit. Then at the end, I was like, well, I mean, again, me playing video games, I'm like, I can tell you exactly whose suit that really looks like from Overwatch. It looks like Farah's suit, which I guess technically she kind of just is Iron Man mixed with like Samus. But instead of hers is red and Farah's in the game is blue. But I'm sure there's a skin where it's red, whatever. But I'm sure
somebody has a Photoshop of it.
Well, yeah, but I kind of forgot. I was just like, oh yeah, she's here, right, doing stuff. I wish it would have been a little bit bigger. I was just kind of like, oh yeah, she's here with her weird half Iron Man suit thing. Okay, kind of getting in the fight.
It didn't fit. That whole part of the movie just didn't feel like it fit to me. Like, it would, honestly, if they were going to make the whole Ironheart thing a plot point, they should have not had a Black Panther in this film. Just called it Wakanda Forever and have I hate that name, by the way, Riri Williams as your, hero of the film, and have her fight Namor and save Wakanda as they're looking for a new Black Panther. That may have been a better result if they had done that, and it would not have clogged up the movie as much, and it may have been received a little bit better. But
well, again, I thought she was going to be, because she is supposed to be like hyper intelligent, just like Shuri, just like Tony Stark. So I thought maybe she was going to be, because I don't know how I would expect Shuri to both be doing all the techie stuff and then trying to go out there and be Black Panther. I'm like, well, okay, there's a reason why Batman has Alfred and Lucius Fox. You don't just, as smart as he is, you don't just, you don't do all that crap by yourself. But I thought maybe she was going to be set up for like kind of being Shuri's part. Like maybe she was going to be Ironheart, but also be kind of running the tech things. She seemed kind of excited to be like, oh, you guys can take me to Wakanda. I'm like, well, you should be so happy. I'd be excited. Shit.
Well, it didn't really give her much choice, to go one way or another.
In that context of the story, yes. But I'm like, I'm sure if they went to her and was like, hey, would you want to come to Wakanda? Yeah, you'd definitely say yes.
Right.
Like, hey, you want to come work in the lab? Like, fuck yeah, I would.
Right. They kind of, you're coming one way or another kind of thing. It was, I don't know. I know why they did it. Obviously, Marvel, lays their seeds and their Easter eggs for future projects. And like I said, this can tie into Armor Wars or Ironheart TV show that I don't know how many will watch, but I won't be watching. But it's just, I don't know. This is a very ambitious movie, and I know why, because like I said, it's such a big thing with Boseman dying. It's just I think they do too much, and I don't know. I would have tried to have done less and did it better, but that's just more my style, I guess.
The question is, would you watch it again?
Hell no.
Well, there you go.
Is that clear enough there for you, Lady Cora? Hell no.
I'm definitely going to go watch it again.
It's a good thing I didn't
go watch it
again.
That's one of the fun of Marvel movies. There's all kinds of shit. There's all the background that you always miss the first time around. No, go see it in theater. Absolutely go see it. There's a lot about this movie I like. There's a lot that kind of made me cringe a little bit. And that's just the reality. One of the things that cringe a little bit, I was hoping to get a little bit more of a direction for the larger MCU from this movie. And I haven't.
Because isn't it one of the first or last in a phase?
This is the end of phase 4.
Yeah, so he's right. They should have had more direction.
We still have no idea what's MCU. We still have no idea what's coming in the larger MCU, and this movie was hopefully going to give us a little bit of that direction, and didn't. We still have no idea what the hell is going on in the larger MCU. Everything is it's pockets here and there.
This whole movie is a self-contained story. There's no, besides the Ironheart Easter eggs, there's nothing outside. Well, the ties to the Thunderbolts and the Ironheart, there's nothing outside of Wakanda that this movie touches on. Very self-contained story. It's very anti-Marvel in that way, that you don't have, there's Cap's shield and Iron Man's helmet over in the corner or something, whatever. Mm-hmm. They don't have a lot of that stuff in this movie. This is not what this story was. So, yeah, I don't know. For it to be the end of phase 4, very anticlimactic. I guess maybe it's meant to be that way. I don't really know, but
I think the only thing we really saw outside of it was, like Agent Ross and fucking, I'm not gonna stop calling her Allegra D because I don't remember her fucking name and I don't care to learn it. But she felt like, she was just there to remind us, hey, I'm here. I'm like, cool, you keep showing up, but I'm like, I don't even know if you know what you're doing here. Like, you just look confused. Like, what?
Now, the position that Thunderbolt Ross had, wasn't that the position that she has now? Or was I wrong about that?
The thing that the position fucking Elaine has?
Yes.
Seinfeld?
Yes.
I don't know. Maybe
I'm pretty sure
because
that's the role
It's never
that
specified exactly what she is until now.
yeah.
I could have swore I read somewhere that she has the job that Thunderbolt Ross had in previous Marvel films. So that got me wondering. Well, obviously we know Harrison Ford has been cast as Thunderbolt
No,
Ross.
that was Richard Schiff's
Right.
character.
Huh? Who was it, Frank?
Richard Schiff's character, the guy with the glasses, the older guy, the guy who's at the hearing when they march in the guys that tried to steal the vibranium.
Oh, okay.
Oh.
Okay.
That's
Okay.
His name is Richard Schiff. He's actually the new Secretary of State. So whereas Ross was the Secretary of State when we last saw him in, well, I guess we last saw him in Black Widow, but when we see him in, it was maybe in Endgame or
Okay.
he goes up there about having his heart attack and all that stuff. Now that he's not Secretary of State anymore, that's who the Richard Schiff character is in let me look real quick.
Black Panther
in front of me on my computer. Let me look so I can not give you that shitty information. Yeah, but he is now the Secretary of State. I forget the name of his character though.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
Yeah,
like,
he's there. Hopefully he'll be around for a while too. I like Richard Schiff. Like
when we see Harrison Ford, Thunderbolt Ross, hopefully Red Hulk at some point, because that'd be freaking awesome to see Harrison Ford as a Hulk. Yes, please.
Yeah.
What role is he going to be? It's going to be some sort of governmental position, I'm sure. Is he president? Is he senator? Is he SHIELD agent? I mean, what the hell is he going to be? We don't know. That's yet to be determined. But, you know, he's got to be something. Like that led to, you know, that's where my mind went anyways. Which role is Harrison Ford? Is it like President Thunderbolt Ross? Because that'd be kind of cool if Hulk was president, especially a Red Hulk.
I don't think that Thunderbolt Ross ever actually becomes president. Maybe somewhere in the comics. I don't know.
Well,
he needs to have a debate with Loki because he wanted to be president too. I would love to see them two go at it.
They can make a. In 2024, they release a presidential film. It's Loki versus Red Hulk, and they're both.
Oh my god!
I will pay to go see that movie. Yes, please.
I want to see the debates. Damn it! I don't think Tex saw that picture that I had from Comic-Con earlier this year. I'm going again. Well, no, I'll let you know here in a second. I'm going again as President Loki for the con coming up the beginning of December. But earlier, like in the spring, I went as President Loki, and I went to the con, and I really should have, because sometimes they have like a booth that has like a con exclusive shirt that's only obviously sold there, and I wanted to get it for the Lels, but there was, I kid you not, it's like the Lincoln Memorial, right? But instead of Lincoln sitting there, it was the fucking Joker, like Heath Ledger Joker.
Ooh.
And it said like I'm your next president, or I'm your president now. And I pointed to the shirt, and I'm going in my President Loki outfit. I'm looking at it, I'm like, who is this clown? Like, who is this Joker think he is? I would love to see that debate too. Dude, I was cool. Like, come on, you got Republicans, Democrats, DC, Marvel. I'd love to see them two go at it. Like, I'll find the picture. I'm just like looking at the shirt and pointing like, who does this guy think he is? Like, hello?
That'd be fucking
that was so funny.
Yeah, I don't know. It's just obviously we're going in a political direction, you know, with the whole vibranium thing. You know, the other nations want it, and it's like I said earlier. I think that's where the Thunderbolt movie will take place: is the hunt for vibranium, or
New World Order,
or New World Order. I could see either of them.
Yeah,
you know, they're going a conspiratorial type government way, and I think the whole vibranium thing is going to be key in that. And you know, maybe the Thunderbolts are used as like a Suicide Squad to get vibranium. That'd be a cool movie. And you have Red Hulk in there as something along those lines. I could see.
We do have Secret Invasion coming too, which is again kind of like a, you know, who can you trust anymore now kind of deal. Invasion of the Body Snatchers kind of shit. Like, you know, that could get fun too. If you if you make Harrison Ford the president, there's gonna be too many Air Force One jokes. Like, I swear,
Oh my God, yes.
he's gonna turn to Red Hulk and be like, "Get off my plane!" And just like throw the guy off.
He said, "You recreate the get off my plane thing," but he kicks the dude off and he flies into the next universe because a Hulk kicked him. You know what I mean? Or he kicks somebody and the person that he kicks just explodes into a matter of blood and body parts because they got hit awesome. By a Hulk. That would be freaking cool. I just want to see Red Hulk. And especially since it's Harrison Ford now, I'm very excited for that. That's there's not much I look forward to in Marvel, but that will get my money and attention first day. I promise you.
Hey, you're biased. Texas because it's red Texas. Get it? If it was a purple or a blue,
if it was Blue Hulk, I would call him a libtard and I'd tell him to fuck off. All right, Blue Hulk.
Boy.
So,
some red versus blue shit right there.
I know they should make the Red Hulk wear a MAGA hat just for funsies.
Oh, MAGA Hulk! Oh, give me MAGA Hulk!
Oh my God!
So and he has a Trump haircut. No, he has to have the Trump haircut.
No,
yes,
so no. He'd be Orange Hulk then.
A little bit of real world stuff is okay, but no.
I'm down.
And he gets his powers from a tanning booth.
Oh no, Jesus Christ.
No. He is powered up by a mysterious force called Q, and that's how he becomes MAGA Hulk. And he's got the Trump. Oh, this is great. Oh,
well, now you're gonna get into Star Trek there saying Q because
y'all done got me excited for something that's never gonna come, but I love it.
This whole thing just went sideways.
I'm sorry, this was too tempting.
No, it was too tempting. Spoiler alert.
See, since Cora hasn't been on the shows, we haven't squirreled much. So this is proof that it's Cora's fault when we do squirrel.
Oh boy!
Just saying, Lady Cora.
I'm gonna go hide.
All right, there you go. Go back to your hole then. Just do your thing.
All right. Bye.
Anyways, Frank, get us back on track here, please.
I don't know what else there really is to say. The fact that poll's still out there. So I'm trying. So 11 votes into this poll. It looks like 45% of you so far are saying that it was okay, while 36% of you say it was great, and 18% of you say it was poop.
Oh, there you go.
Wow.
I'll go with the
okay.
It's not right. Poop. It was okay. It was, like I said, it was Phase 4 Marvel.
I didn't hate it at all. I just didn't. Yeah. It didn't blow me away, but I didn't hate it. So.
Right. They should have given us more M'Baku.
I want to go somewhere between great and okay because there was some things about it that one of the things I find interesting about M'Baku, and I didn't get a chance to say this earlier because you guys decided to go off on a tangent, but it's odd that the biggest warrior, the biggest warrior in here, the one is the one who's the biggest proponent of this whole movie. He's just. It's like, well, do we really want to go this route, guys? Or should we just find another way? It's like he's the one who doesn't want to go to war because he understands, and he even says this in as much as to Letitia Wright's character, that this is the kind of thing that leads to a war that lasts for centuries or generations. He's like, do we really want to get involved in something like this war between the Wakandans and the Talakans? So that's one of the things I thought was really interesting. It's like the greatest warrior that still exists in the world of Wakanda is the one who's the biggest proponent for peace. I thought that was interesting. Well, if not peace, certainly not war. You know what I mean?
Well,
he did even seem like he wanted to be like kind of like a consul to her, like an advisor almost, kind of like, hey, like just hear me out, like this is my home too. Like, don't be so hasty about this, man. Like he probably knows, like, look, I understand you're mad right now, okay, but we get in a fight with these people that's not gonna. Yeah, he's like he knows when to,
Right, he knows when to go to. He knows when a battle is necessary, worth it, and needs to be done. Whereas the chick that's the Black Panther now is just pissed off and wants people to pay, and she's not thinking rationally here. So I mean, I could kind of see why. I could kind of see why they had his. I could see why they had his character be the somewhat voice of reason that whatever, but I could see why they did that. I mean, yeah, it's kind of ironic, like you said, Frank. Our nation's biggest and best warrior is telling us, "Hey, whoa, let's at least look twice at this thing," and because he knows once you ring that bell, you can't undo it. know what I mean? So, I mean, it makes sense to me. I mean,
especially with them, he knows like these people are. He's like, they got the drop on us. They came into our home, which no one is supposed to know where it's at but us.
Right.
And they have. He's like, he's head to toe. He's got vibranium, and he's obviously like a god to them. But like, this dude's got little like Hermes shoes, and he can fucking fly through the air and he can just like karate chop one of our damn helicopter, whatever the Apache looking things, and that's it. Like,
and
this is not a fight we want to go
even for. That's even more proof that he should have been the Black Panther, never hurt. Just for that wisdom alone, take the fighting stuff away from it. The dude knows when to do what, and he's a cool character. You know what I mean? So, with the conversation, the conversation has still gone the same way because Namor seemed pretty set in his way of either, you can either join me in burning the world down, or I'm just going to burn you with it. Because I'm like, he seems pretty. Yeah. I don't know. I don't know. If I looked at M'Baku as opposed to, Shuri, I'm like, well, this dude's like fucking 6'7" and like 300 pounds of muscle. I wouldn't be fucking with him, but right.
I can maybe bury in this girl's ear like, hey, you draw me or you die with everybody else. I'm like, eh.
Now
I'd be like, man, we can talk it out.
One question I did have about the film, though, obviously Namor is. He's called the first mutant, right? We've already seen X-Men stuff in, was it Miss Marvel at the end of it, right? So
we did drop the mutant word again.
Do you think this ties into an X-Men thing in the future, something with Namor? I mean, can you see something like that happening, or is it just a coincidence thing? I mean, what do you think on that?
It was weird that he was different from everybody else, and then it really explained
it
why.
Certainly does open the door. Well. Yeah, they do mention movies, so obviously we're going to be leaning more into that part of the world. I mean, obviously, mutant time at the end of Marvel. Now he even says that he was. He doesn't say directly that he was a mutant, but that he was a mutation or something like that, which is not
right.
It's not something
we know what he
is. As soon as I heard it in the theater, I was like, "Oh, there's that M word again." Yeah, we all know what he's getting at. So maybe this is just another step in explaining where the mutations and the mutants come from in the MCU as opposed to where they came from in the Fox stuff.
Well, even in the Fox stuff, if you go back to the first, was it the first or? Yeah, it was the first X-Men movie where Rogue is like kissing her boyfriend and she's not superpowered yet. And then as she's like has an emotional response, she ends up draining the kid to death. So, I mean, even in that, she mutated.
Well, they movie that it happens. They mentioned the movie happens at a certain point around puberty.
Right. So, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it's, I don't know.
Or if you're dead,
in that movie that
you force a mutation.
At a certain around puberty. So,
I'm trying to think. It was X-Men Origins Wolverine where they show Logan was a child. Like his mutation came out when he had an emotional response, right? Like whenever his dad was murdered, that's when the claws came out.
Anger.
Was it anger? Yeah. So I mean, maybe that's, I don't know. Do they just copy that? I mean, it seems like it's a pretty logical thing to do here. If you're going to bring in the mutation thing, maybe you don't call them mutants. Just you mutate whenever I don't know, your voice changes and your balls drop or you get pissed off. Maybe that's the rules. I don't fucking know. But, it's...
Well, they haven't officially explained anything to MCU yet. I mean, we have mutations, but nobody has said these things are mutants or this group of people are mutants. So they haven't.
I want to see more of Namor. That's what I want.
I'm sure they've got an idea to do, but they haven't done it quite yet.
I think Namor deserves more of a backstory. Give him a 4-episode deal on Disney Plus. Flesh him out more. Do something because
no. Did you not fall asleep during the 4-hour fucking explanation of his character in the movie? Damn.
Well, obviously they explained it, but I don't. I would have rather had more Namor and less of the other stuff. I guess is what I'm trying to say.
Well, he's not gone. He's still around.
I don't know.
I think he's waiting for his moment.
He was one of the more interesting. I had my issues with him. I found him very obnoxious in this movie, but he was kind of the crap heel, and I figured he was supposed to be that way. But I don't know. I feel like more because he's a very complex character in the comics. He's a good guy one issue, then he's a bad guy. He flips back and forth. He's whatever. But I don't know. I would have liked to see more him, less Shuri or Shuri.
See more Namor. I like the way they ended things with Namor. Yeah, I like the way they ended things with Namor because that conversation that he has with his cousin at the end of the movie, it's pretty clear that while he stopped the fight between him and Wakanda this time, that doesn't mean that there's not more to come, because he even says, I still want to take over the surface world, but right now it's best to have Wakanda on our side. And he's definitely in the anti-hero range right now, because we don't quite know exactly what the plans for him are in the future. We don't. Marvel, I mean, the higher ups at Marvel might have an idea of what they want to do with him, but we don't know.
I would hope they have a plan
for that. So that's interesting to me, the conversation they had at the end of the movie.
Well, and that begs the question, going forward, do you keep Namor tied to the Black Panther franchise, or do you give him his own deal? You know what I mean? You can tell stories of Namor without Black Panther and Wakanda.
You give him a thing.
Yeah.
Yeah, you can give him his own thing. I mean, look, we don't know how that world down there was affected during the blip. If half their people disappeared, I don't know if he disappeared. I mean, maybe there could be some ramifications that he has to deal with away from battling Wakanda. They don't really allude to it in this movie, but it's not saying they won't. But there's lots of stories to be told with Namor. Disney Plus is too screen for him, though. He's definitely a theatrical character that they're going to mess with on the big screen.
I mean, 70% of the world is ocean. I mean, it's not like this dude couldn't pop up anywhere.
Now, one thing I did like in this movie, though, are those rhinos covered in vibranium.
Yeah, really.
I want one of those. That was like, okay, can I buy an action figure of that? Because that was really cool. When it's just going to, it's just smashing people, right? I was like, okay, I'm a fan of this. This is, that
was pretty wicked.
Show more of that creature. That was really cool. That was one of the things that I really enjoyed in this movie. I liked it. It was fun. I thought it was pretty cool.
Yeah, but I do want to start to wrap up the conversation on Black Panther, because I do want Jeremy's thoughts on the first thing that we talked about. So any final thoughts on Black Panther? I'll start with you, Jeremy, because I know that you got a chance. You got a chance to say it, but I know, Jeremy, you did. What are some of your final thoughts on Black Panther?
Didn't hate it, but like I said, it didn't exactly blow me away. I mean, beginning and end kind of did what I was, I guess, hoping for or something. It kind of gave us a little bit of closure in a way with T'Challa and the passing of Chadwick Boseman. And there's things that are set up for the character of Black Panther. I mean, I think even Shuri kind of says it, or someone says it in the movie a few times. They're like, well, Black Panther's it's not like it's just him. He's the protector of Wakanda, but it's not like, it could be anybody. Kind of like Spider-Man. It's always like, that's why they drew him that way, because you could relate to him because he could be anybody. You never see who he is. And we know there are multiple Spider-Men, so that's fun. I don't know. It's, I guess, a little confusing. I guess it sets up, I mean, in the larger MCU, I guess we still really don't know what we're doing, and I'm kind of just like, I don't know what happened here in Phase 4. Just the things are happening, but they're not all the same things that are happening, if that made any sense. But at least it kind of, I guess we had to, again, have some way to address the elephant in the room with this particular character. And also it did give us a setup for Namor, which, there's a lot of possibilities. We can go places with him. So yeah, give it like a solid 6 or 7.
Wow. You're being generous.
Yeah, I almost cringed saying 7. I was like, yeah, okay, 6 seems a little high, but like, I don't know. It was fun. It was Marvel. It was fun, but I mean, I just didn't know what the hell we were really doing you know.
I don't think they did either. That's the problem. I don't know. For me,
and damn it, it said a Riri. I can't fucking say her name. I keep saying Wee Wee.
You called her a Riri.
Well, because then her last name is Williams, so you got like RR and then a W. That is so fucking stupid.
You could just call her Miss Williams.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's not gonna happen.
I even forgot about her. Yeah, that sets her up too. So I don't know. Yeah. We got other places we can branch out here. Hopefully, that's what I'm hoping for.
I don't know. For me, this movie was a Phase 4 Marvel film. Not spectacular. It's more of spoon feeding you content till we get an Avengers movie. Kind of what it felt like, and it was another cog in the machine. M'Baku was cool. The Rhino, I can't wait for the vibranium covered Rhino action figure. I'll be buying one of those. I don't buy the new skinny chick Black Panther. Go eat a steak and hit the weights. Superpowers or not. Overall, it's a 4 for me. That's the best I can do. So,
what would you put the first Black Panther at? Out of curiosity, if you give this one a 4.
The first, and especially since I watched it after this one, it was closer to a 7.
Okay.
So
I would have said 8. Yeah. Definitely.
Yeah, 7. I'd say 7 for the first one because, like I said, Chadwick Boseman. My favorite portrayal of Black Panther was actually in Civil War. I liked him in that film, the way they did him. I thought he did really cool in that. But yeah, the first Black Panther to this one, it's not a day difference for me. And like I said, this 2, Black Panther 2 is a 4 for me. It's unfortunate that his memorial was in a film of this caliber for myself, but to each their own. You like what you like, and hey, God bless you for it. So, yeah.
Well, Cora, what about you? I know you didn't get a chance to see the film yet. You've heard everything that we've talked about. What are some of your thoughts on what you've heard?
I'm gonna wait for it to be on digital release.
There you go.
Go see it in the theater.
I mean, I want to see it because
one of its showings in your tiny town.
Right.
What am I? Yeah, I'm surprised they're even showing it still. What can I say?
Yeah.
But it's what happens when you live in Mayberry. But I don't know. I'm curious to see it. I think you all make valid points that it's worth watching once, but a lot of me wonders if it's just going to be fluff and Chadwick Boseman honoring him. I don't know.
Lot of that.
I don't know. Why couldn't they have just done a documentary about Chadwick Boseman, like a full feature length thing, put on Disney Plus, and then make this sequel not all about him? Like, I don't know.
So it didn't feel like it was all about him. I guess that helps. It didn't. It's like I said, it's end capped with him. Like it's like the beginning is obviously like it's him passing away, and it's like, oh crap, we have the funeral. It's like, damn. Then it's like 7 hours of okay, what are we doing? And then the last like 7 minutes is like, again, you have the little T'Challa and her. There's a whole ceremony of like her mom said you burn your funeral clothes after a certain point to like signify getting past it. So she does that. She goes there and actually does it, and she's having her moment, and then the little T'Challa walks out. I was like, oh shit, hell yeah! And then screen Gus the Black, and then it says dedicated to our friend Chadwick Boseman. I'm like, oh nice.
Hang on, I did have one question though. Is Wakanda is a landlocked country, yes or no?
Yeah, I think it's like kind of just Central Africa. It's not really.
Okay, then how in the hell and why do they have a submarine?
I was wondering that too. Because I'm like, is it in the center?
They're like this, super advanced society. Maybe they've just drilled a hole down to some underground river.
They had to mine all that vibranium.
Into some type of not.
Okay,
they talk about that. They actually talk about that in the movie.
Did
I was
they?
wondering how Namor got there. I'm like, did
Namor
just go upstream and all of a sudden he ended up there? I'm like, what?
No, No, they mentioned it in the movie. That he had. That's one of the reasons that they were surprised that he had even gotten there. They said he must have swam so many bajillions of kilometers or whatever. So because water is all connected. Streams to rivers, rivers to lakes, lakes to oceans,
right,
and so on.
But okay, but
so
that still doesn't answer my question. How do you get a submarine in a lake?
This entire river or something. A submarine.
I guess.
Yeah, there could be a river that runs through. I guess.
You didn't get a submarine in there.
No, I think he's talking about the thing they had. Are you talking about the thing they had at the end of the movie?
I don't know what.
Yeah. The one that the Wakandans had at the end of the film. Yeah.
That's the ocean.
Yeah, I mean, I imagine like if they were gonna, it's just like any military. I mean, if they have to go somewhere.
I don't know. It was like I said. I don't know. It was one of the things that stood out to me of movie magic. It's a superhero film. It's just I kind of had to write it off to that, but it was an observation, so it's all good.
No, that happened. Yeah, that happened out in the middle of the ocean. Shuri talks about how they're going to lure him out to try to trap him so they can dry him out. And he won't be as powerful. So that all happens out in the middle of the ocean.
I did like that they beat a mutant like God with space heaters. That was very.
It seemed a little goofy, but I'm like, yeah, I mean, he's a fish out of water now, dude.
Like,
shit.
Like how cool? Like okay, if heat was the way to beat him, like be fighting him out in the ocean, and like your submarine is tipping over like the Titanic, and then somebody's like, hit the jets, and then like the booster jet from the back of the submarine hits him or something, and that dries him out. That would have been a cooler finale, but space heaters did it. But
I'm not gonna lie, that was pretty badass when she yelled at Wakanda forever and fucking burned his ass with the fucking the engines. Right. I'm like, okay, that was pretty awesome.
That was a pretty cool scene. I was like, wow, that's visually
that was sweet.
But yeah, as far as I'm concerned, yeah, there was a lot to this movie, a lot to like, a lot to not like. Again, multiple Iron Men now exist. That was dumb. I don't know why they did that. It was one thing to have Barry Williams because she's going to be, she's going to be getting her own series, but it's like the other two, I don't really get it. I honestly, with the idea is that Shuri has always been smarter than Tony Stark. So you think she wouldn't have built one of those things before Tony Stark? In a normal world, but whatever. It's a movie. So I'm gonna let that go. But Cooler did a great job with what he had to do. I mean, there was really only one decent path he could have taken. He took it. He did the best job that he could. He displayed a remembrance of both Chadwick Boseman and of T'Challa that I think in the best way that you possibly could have. I don't know. I can't in my mind envision a way that would have been done better. Again, it's a beautiful world to immerse yourself in, both Wakanda and Talokan. Namor, I want more of Namor. I like the fact that Letitia Wright actually kind of carries this movie because who else was going to do it? No Chadwick Boseman. So somebody had to do it, and she did a hell of a job carrying the film. Ramada dying, big shock. The cameo from Michael B. Jordan as Eric Killmonger. Again, I understood it. I thought it was very well placed. I thought it was very interesting for where Shuri was mentally at the time. I thought that was a great way of doing things. But some things I couldn't quite jive with. Again, I 100% now, and I thought this months ago, but after seeing the movie, I am now 110% sure that the best thing they could have done is recast the role. And so where you want, in my mind, that would have been a much better way to pay tribute to T'Challa and to Chadwick Boseman as an actor. But they did what they did, and there was very, very good in a lot of spots, kind of lacking in others. I think the movie was a bit too long. Could have cut a half hour out of it and probably would have streamlined a little bit better. I don't really like to say pacing issues because that's what stupid people say about they don't understand movies. But it did seem to drag at times. I love seeing the stuff with Alexandra Allegra, Valentino, whatever. It was interesting to see that she now has a more solidified identity in the MCU. That's going to be interesting moving forward, especially as we go into the Thunderbolts. I love Everett Ross. That character is just fun. It's the character that I think Coulson could have grown into at one point had they not killed him. or transferred him to
right.
whatever. So he's playing the role that I think Coulson could have played long term. But yeah, there's a lot to go into about it. So go down in the comments below. Let us know what you guys thought of Black Panther: Wakanda Forever. But before we go, I do want to do two things real quick. One is thank you to everybody who voted in the poll. It was okay. Was the skin of your teeth winner with 45% of the vote. It was great.
I didn't even skew the poll this time. So yeah,
and it was poop. Follows up with 18% of the vote. Thanks to all the 11 of you who voted. I was one of them. I think Jeremy and Tex were probably voters too. But that's where it ended up. Thank you guys very much for.
Not this time.
But also, real quick before we get out of here, I wanted to touch base with Jeremy about the thing that we started the topic we started the show with, because it's something that's very, very important to him. Jeremy, we did suffer a pretty tragic death with Kevin Conroy. What I know that you had met him at least once that I know of, got some autographs and had a chance to talk with him. What are some of your thoughts on the death of Kevin Conroy?
Yeah, that's why I'm so mad, because like I even changed my shirt to come here. I'm wearing like one of the OG like Batman logo shirts, and I'm so pissed my internet just doesn't work, and I know I'm here in a half-assed manner, and I'm not even showing on camera, but whatever.
Kevin can see you.
Yeah, I know. I'm like just and I'm sitting literally like 2 feet. I can reach out and touch the poster he signed like from right here. It's been in my background. I might place it a little bit more forward now this time. But yeah, it's I have it right back there, the poster he signed for me, which I know just definitely went up in fucking value. But I'm not getting rid of that. I'm holding on to that thing. That's no, because I mean, I just watched also. I watched something on someone asked Kevin Smith recently too what he thought, and it felt the same way. It's like something everybody would say is like when you think of Batman, I'm like, yeah, you think of Adam West, you think of Christian Bale, you think of fucking Michael Keaton, but like when you think of who you hear that voice, and this is what he said. He's like, when I read comics, man, like he's like I watched the series and you hear his voice. Whenever he's like, when I read the comics, I'm like, yeah, like whenever I played the video games, whenever I watched the animated series, that's what I grew up on watching. Was that, and this dude had been doing, I mean, God knows how many things as Batman / Bruce Wayne.
He's done over 60 individual projects from movies, TV to video games. Yes,
and as long as I've been alive, like that's crazy to me, like and I know I'm like, I know we have our favorite Batmans, but I'm like, really, like, let's just all admit, like, someone who just is Batman, who is that voice, man, is just Kevin Conroy.
Oh shit!
It's just he's got that tone, that real commanding voice. I don't know who else. I've even seen some things from Mark Hamill talking about like he's like he's like it was the most fun, and he was really glad he got to be alongside him as the Joker. As well. Yeah, I'm trying to remember when it was. I think it was I want to say 2018 or something. Yeah, you mentioned I went to a Comic-Con. He was there. I think that was the highlight because I was so excited because I'm like I'm meeting like the Batman. Like,
was that the picture of you in the Joker getup?
Yeah, and I did. Yeah, I did go as the Joker. Yeah. Of course, I walked up to the booth and he just looked at me up and down and just went, I like it. I'm like, yes. Well, that's all he said to me. He's like, I like it. I'm like, thank you. I was I didn't really know what to say. I wish I had like some story or something we talked about, but I was just so goddamn starstruck. It happens to me sometimes. I go to these cons and like I get so excited. I get so shaky, and I'm still like after I walk out of there, I'm like, oh my god, it was Kevin Conroy. I'm sitting there, I can't hold the fucking poster still. I can't take a picture because Jesus. No, yeah, he was really cool, and it was either that or I was gonna have him sign my video game because like I mean again like those Arkham games are so much fun, and again it's just man he kills it, like it's weirdly just almost effortless. Just love how he just fucking commands a room as Batman, man. It's a loss. It hurts. if he did it for that long, like, man, until the day he died, I'm like, I know he would have kept going. He would have just kept doing this because you can tell he was really passionate about this character and like he enjoyed doing it. So
100%.
I don't know that along with I think Hagrid, right? The guy who played Hagrid passing away. That just it hurts. I was actually crying. Like I started tearing up at work because I'm like that's something from like when I grew up, like when I was a kid, all the way. And like I said, that last movie came out the year I graduated high school, so it felt really fitting. I was like, that's something I just went along with from when I was in grade school up until that point. Same thing with him. And I watched the show and I played the video games. I'd seen, Justice League stuff. I'd seen, all the other stuff he'd been in. So that's a big hole that's left.
Yeah, Kevin Conroy, he's R.I.P. And obviously we say that almost weekly when a celebrity passes. But I mean, Jeremy, I mean, you and I are both similar. Huh?
Yeah, it's been a lot of passings lately. There haven't been a lot of small.
There really has.
It's been pretty
sucks,
names in entertainment.
I mean, it's you and I are of a similar age, and every week we were hearing this dude's voice in our entire lives. This was Batman. You know what I mean? So, obviously Hagrid, he was Hagrid for 8 films or 10 films over a few years, but Kevin Conroy is Batman.
Well, I know. I'm just I'm just saying, like, it's something that, like, again, that had from my childhood that stuck with me. And I mean, I know it's like, obviously Harry Potter had ended, but I mean, and yeah, obviously he'd still been doing it now up until this point in my adult life. Like I'm going into my 30s, like this, that's just, again, you can't get that voice out of your head, man. It's like, I don't think those would make fun of Christian Bale. It's like, no, you can't. I don't know what it is, man. You just can't get that voice.
Christian Bale had throat cancer. Kevin Conroy is Batman. There's the difference.
Yeah, I know. I think I actually, now that I'm looking back here behind me, I think, I do. It's behind the batarang. I can't see it from here. I actually, maybe I'll swap it out on my top 8 here for my pops. I do, because I have that whole section back there of just Batman pops, and right behind the batarang from '89 is the animated series pop of him,
cool.
Which I unfortunately didn't have, until after I met him. But hey, I'll find a place over here for him. I don't want to get rid of Stan Lee or like Zombie Wolverine, but like I don't know which one I want to replace. That sucks. Someone keeps 10th Doctor, maybe Patrick Bateman. It's a cool, rare one, but I'll probably put him up there for a while.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I think. Hold on. What did he put on?
Definitely.
He put I Am Batman. He said it had two me. I Am Batman. He put Kevin Conroy. Yeah.
Oh, that's cool.
God, that's so cool. Yeah, it's in a protective sleeve. Believe me, it's staying there and it's staying with me till I die. Hell no.
Going to the grave
your
with him.
Kids think it's so cool they want to put it in their bedroom.
If I No, Jeremy's not gonna let his kids have that. Get your own damn.
No, I let nobody have that. No.
Yeah, Federico in the chat says one of the stars of Days of Our Lives just passed away a day or two ago. Yeah, that was actually Jennifer Aniston's dad.
Oh wow.
Yeah.
Oh,
really?
Damn.
Wow.
He had a very iconic voice.
A lot.
I didn't know her daddy was an actor,
man.
He's been a soap star for many years. That's how she got into acting because of her dad.
My soap knowledge is subpar, to say at best. So.
I have not been a big soap opera fan over the course of my life either. So
I watched him in high school on Days of Our Lives. I didn't even know he was Jennifer Aniston's dad till years later, and he played this like calm, not asshole-ish voice, gentle seeming guy, but he was like a badass, like king of the town. Rich dude who got the women he wanted, and his kids did what he wanted them to do, and people feared him. but he talked so calm and gently. I mean, he was a really great character on Days of Our Lives.
So Batman.
He would actually kind of be like that, yeah.
I'm like, so Kevin Conroy is Batman, yeah. It all comes back.
Yeah. Was he Vengeance? Was he maybe the Knight?
Was he the Knight?
A lot of
Could
people
he possibly
didn't like
be
him.
Batman? Maybe is that what you're hitting at here? Sorry, I couldn't do a Kevin Conroy tribute and not throw that line in some shape, form, or fashion. So,
that is one of my favorite themes. I mean, you can't beat that opening. And to be honest, I do like the animated series Batmobile. I think it's pretty slick.
Oh, it's a badass car, man. Hell yeah.
That's a badass car.
Hell yeah.
That seems like
it'd be hell to drive around real time.
Yeah, I do want to thank all of my co-hosts for coming and hanging out with us tonight. I very much appreciate it, especially the Dowager Countess Lacy Cora. Where can the folks find you on the internet?
Here on Thursdays with you. I'm kind of engrossed in real life shit. I'm not really online much anymore. So, yeah. There you
go. With the exception of YouTube, I'm kind of a lot of the same way anymore. And of course, the Shape from the Lone Star State, my man from just north of the border, is my man Tex.
Just north.
What do you got going
on
today, my man?
Just a hair. A whole lot of nothing. Talking about shit on Thursdays on here. That's about it. I'm at /Division on Twitter if you want to follow me. I don't post much, so don't waste your time. But if you want to, you want to bump up my follower count and make me feel good, go right ahead. So yeah, that's about it.
And of course, my hetero life mate Jeremy made to overcome some technical difficulties and join us today to talk about all the cool shit. What do you got going on these days, my man?
Well, I'm gonna unfortunately join their setup of we're all just old, boring people on the internet. We don't do shit, but God, it sounds so boring because I'm just like, I don't do anything. No, obviously you can see it down there. It's Grim Tuesday 23. Pretty much I'm on like just about anything, but again, it's not like I promise that I'm active on it. I swear if I was maybe half my age, I might be, but then again, I might be more obnoxious. Well, I can't say more obnoxious. I'm digging a hole. Never mind. Don't answer.
We're pretty obnoxious as it is there, Grim Tuesday. So.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
Oh, good.
Yeah, no, I'm on Twitter. I don't really I mean, I find new stuff there, or I try to remember to share the damn the videos we do. It's really where if you find any updates, because like I said, it's not like I'm in a weird limbo right now. The temperature just plummeted in the last week, and I'm just not feeling anything. Literally and like figuratively, I'm just not feeling anything.
I have 3 inches of snow all over my yard and driveway. So
we had some snow, but I mean, man, it was so ungodly cold today for no reason.
Coming up January, I know you and I will be excited about a Last of Us TV show. I'm really looking forward to covering that shit too.
That's true.
All your knowledge about the video games, which I know nothing about, so I'm interested to learn from you on that. So
right, I'll be all over that. Also, if I ever, actually, I mean, I guess Frank, now that he's got his new place, I mean, something, obviously in January or whenever the hell it decides to snow, something I always do every year. Maybe we should actually start publishing. Oh shit, let's knock something over. Damn it. Start actually publishing it on here or wherever, is the Barefoot Beer Run, because I've been doing that for a number of years. Which might end up becoming.
You said beer, you have my support. I like it.
It's like weirdly, I encourage people to do it because I'm like, hey, have fun with it. Make your own rules. I don't give a damn. Like, this is the basis of a dumb idea that actually Brooding Gamer, I can't really take credit. Brooding Gamer is the one who kind of came up with it because.
Way to go, Alan.
I know he forgot his beer in the car. Here he took his shoes off. And he said, fuck it. I'm not putting them back on. I'm going to run out there in the snow and grab it. I'm like, we might have something here. Wait a minute.
I keep saying it. If people drank more, everybody would be happy, but nobody listens to me. So what you're going to
Damn right.
This is an event right up your alley. I'm telling you what. We've gotten a little bit more legitimacy with some rules and some things we do with it. So I don't know. It might be, as Frank has now suggested, maybe a little more obstacle coursey and shit like that. So, and also alcohol induced, so that'll be more fun. In the winter of the dead of winter in Ohio, I don't know how you. This shit writes itself, man. The views are gonna be rolling in. Now that derailed into my stupid annual event.
Hey, that's my everyday when I take my dogs out in a hurry, and I'm just wearing like little slippers or flip flops in the snow with dachshunds. It's called Dachshund Run, and then they get cold at the end of the yard, and they're holding their feet up, and they make you walk through the snow to go pick them up and carry them in the house.
Well,
yeah.
You don't want to go outside and let your
the Dachshund Run for me.
Go outside and let your wiener freeze. It's not a good time.
I got two of them. I got two
wieners.
Man.
Hashtag Cora has two wieners. Get it on Twitter. She just told everybody.
Actually true. So yeah.
Cora has two wieners. She's
anyway,
we're gonna put her in the freak show and make some money off of it.
You can see her wieners right now. They're actually her icon right there on her thing.
Yeah, you can.
That's true.
Cora just flops those things out everywhere. She shows everybody.
Insert double-ended wiener joke here.
Yep. One's spotted and one's really hairy.
You got spotted dick? Is that what you have?
Yeah, I do have one. I do have one of those.
You want to get that looked at. Anywho.
I'm sorry, I'm derailing the show.
Yeah, they make a cream for that.
Yeah.
They make a cream for
so
that.
Yeah, maybe we'll actually put that up on here or something. It could be a fun series or whatever. This is I have to keep going back and look and see which year it is, because I mean it took place in 2017. I don't care about doing math, so you guys figure it out. We also discarded 20 because 2020 didn't happen. So also because it kept refusing to snow in like November, December. So I kept having to do the quote next year for the last year. So I said, fine, fuck it. We're skipping 2020 and we're just going to start. It'll be that year. It'll be like January, February, March, April, May, June, July is when it snows in fucking Ohio. So whatever. It's easier to do it that way.
Big snowstorm in July here.
Hey, if you're not careful, it's going to start doing that. I'm also on Twitch. And also YouTube, I guess. I kind of keep those separate because, like I said, some games are more built for streaming, some are more built for actually playing through. I guess best example is like Last of Us. I could do as a series on YouTube, and Modern Warfare is just more of a streaming game. I finally finished the campaign, and now it's making my mind overcome the hurdle of just start playing. No, just start. No, but it's too. You gotta just start playing. Just go. Just do it. I'm like, yeah, all right. Because I know I'm already like a fucking year behind because everyone already fucking played it. Probably all the content creators and all that crap. But I don't know. I just gotta start. Just gotta start the snowball and just start working on the guns and crap like that. So yeah, that's it.
Yeah. As for me, as I click back over so I can get my Twitter stuff on there. Where it is. There it is. You can find me here every Thursday. Technical difficulties and glitches notwithstanding, going over all the stuff going on in the news of TV, movies, and streaming. I don't know what movie is coming up next that we might do a specific review for, but yeah,
I've
we'll
heard of some Hallmark movies, some Hallmark Christmas movies coming out.
Cora, go back to your hole. Cora, go back to your hole.
If you and Tex want to break down the rom-coms from Lifetime Miracle Network, you guys go right ahead.
Hey,
I don't think I can pay him enough.
No. 2 days ago, I talked Freaky Friday and that other princess crap. I've done my work. No thank you. I'll put in my time. No.
I will bust out my black Santa hat that says "Bah Humbug" if you make me do that shit. I'm gonna be so mad.
Hey, Lindsay Lohan's on a comeback, man.
I don't watch that shit myself. On a comeback.
She's in one of these Christmas movies on Lifetime. Maybe this is part of the Lindsay Lohan renaissance. So you never know.
You know, she has one coming out on Netflix.
She does.
So.
And we just lost Jay for some reason. Maybe more technical difficulties. But that's okay.
He's scared we'll make him watch the Christmas shit movie.
Watch Hallmark movies. Have you lost your flipping mind with your spotted dick? Is that what you've done?
And don't forget the furry one. I have a furry one and a spotted one. I got 2 of them.
There's Jay. Okay, Jay's back.
Welcome back, Jeremy. We're picking out which Hallmark movie we're each gonna watch and talk about.
See, even the thing kicked me out because it knew, like, nope, it's time to go. We're not doing Christmas shit. No, it is. I do not believe that it is the dance of Thanksgiving. Therefore, no.
Fair enough. I was just joking.
Hallmark movie.
Oh, I know.
Oh, come on! It's a fucking joke.
Fuck you. Fuck you.
I don't watch that stuff. I do pay for a Hallmark movie membership every year as a gift to one of my friends, but I don't watch it. So.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
As a gift to one of your friends, sure. You spend all your time over there watching Hallmark.
Right.
No.
It's not my account. One of my oldest. Theirs.
It is not my account. She's one of my oldest friends. We used to live together, and I would literally avoid coming home in November, December, because she would have those playing nonstop for like 5 hours a day.
Cora, that's just like saying I don't do cocaine. I just like the way it smells. All right, that's all you're doing. That is all that you're doing.
This is a stupid question, but does cocaine actually smell like anything? Now I'm
curious.
curious.
That's the joke. Stick your nose in it. Find out. Joke. That's the joke in it, Cora. If I have to explain it, it ain't funny. So don't fuck up my joke here. Okay.
And we're demonetized for talking about drugs.
Oh boy! I blame the Hallmark movie discussion, not cocaine. I don't know what I've done.
Anyway,
I'm sorry.
Oh goodness! So now my computer is kind of frozen again. I wait for it to unstick itself so I can click end broadcast. See?
Real quick, Frank.
Corey, you broke Frank's computer.
Are you gonna put the shelves up with that cool monitor and stuff in the background of your office?
I don't know yet. I'm still working on some things because my desk is actually getting delivered tomorrow. I don't know if I'll put it together tomorrow, but my new desk is getting delivered tomorrow. It's going to be like right here, kind of off to the side, so it's going to be entirely visible. I have some shelving that I want to put up right behind me so I can put my pop figures up and have them be more visible, but I don't quite know how that's going to work yet. I haven't ordered my shelves yet. I have them on Amazon.
I have a weird suggestion. Get some of those vinyl stick-on letters to say the harsh truth, like somewhere on the wall.
Oh, like the what am I talking? What am I thinking of? The one thing you can buy them online. They're like big things you put on the wall. I know what you're talking about.
Yeah, but you can get them in letter packets, so you can make your own words and stuff.
Well, I mean, Jennifer makes stuff like that when she's doing her crafty stuff. So I could have her do something like that.
There you go.
Maybe a T-shirt that says "harsh truth" on it. You can wear that on camera too.
Too many colors and details. It gets a little difficult for her to make because she only has so much space to work with, and that takes big machines with printers and all that stuff. But I mean, there's stuff she's actually made decals to put on like the back window of my car that has like a channel logo on it.
Nice.
Stuff like that.
Can she make one that says Tex loves Hallmark movies that he can put on his wall right above his
I will hunt you down. I will hunt you down Michael Myers style.
If Jennifer wanted to be shot by
from Halloween End style?
Oh my God. Hallmark dies tonight.
Hallmark dies tonight.
There we go. That should be the name of a podcast.
Oh God. Just like an anti-Christmas
really kill me now. God, just take me now. It's not going to get any worse.
Well, instead of killing anybody, I'm just going to go ahead and end the show. So thank you guys very much for hanging out. I appreciate it very much. We will see you guys next time. Adios. We get the hell out of here before the...
Adios.
Bye.